about to experience the Drunken Peasants podcast, the greatest podcast in human history. Please recognize that this podcast is designed to be amusing and entertaining, and thus we engage in satirical comments, exaggerations, and even dirty jokes. If you are offended by such things, please go away and die. If you enjoy this podcast, we ask that you help to support its existence by contributing to our Patreon at patreon.com/DP. Contributors get regular access to monthly private shows, special commentaries, Google Hangouts with the peasants, and more. If you don't want to do that, you can also support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/Drunken Peasants to get a free audiobook and access to over 150,000 audiobook titles, including great selections on science and skepticism. And if you shop on Amazon.com, we strongly urge you to use one of the Amazon affiliate links in the description section of our videos. You can help support the show simply by using our link to buy things you were going to buy anyway. Now that we've got all that shit out of the way, sit back and enjoy the show.
Live from the frigid armpit of America, this is the Drunken Peasants podcast with Ben and TJ, bringing you opinions of the news from an altered perspective.
Fuck it! Hey man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man.
I don't have facts to back this up.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
What the fuck you talking about, atheist? It's okay.
You're nothing, TJ. You're garbage.
I just want to be liked.
You're garbage.
And now, here are your hosts, Ben and TJ.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Drunken Peasants podcast, Awakens.
Oh, yeah. The force is strong with this one.
Also, episode 186.
Yeah.
The episode is strong with that.
Look at this shit
Smoke
here.
weed every day.
Well, this is not weed. This is herbal mix.
Yeah.
Herbal mix. Oh.
Completely legal
Herbal
mix.
Yeah, it's called tobacco,
See?
TJ.
You see this Darth
Tobacco.
Vader? I'm going to smoke from Vader's head.
You're going to smoke from Vader's head? How was that?
Force is strong with that one.
Yeah.
Force is not strong with you because you're passing that the wrong fucking way.
Sorry, Skittle.
Skittle.
Here you go, buddy.
Buddy.
Oh, yeah.
So, how are we going to start?
Spoilers! This contains spoilers. If you don't like it, you shouldn't watch. Han Solo dies.
Solo is dead!
You know, as soon as it happened, I was like, fuck, he's too pricey, and that's why they killed him off in the first movie.
You know,
Well, like he's too fucking old. He's like, yeah, I'm
They're
back
all
for one.
too old.
Lawrence Kasdan, and that's why they were used sparingly, which I think was wise, by the way. But
because they're older, because they're expensive.
because they're old, and because it really
Yeah.
it should be about passing the torch to a new generation.
Sure.
But, you know, originally Lawrence Kasdan, who I think also wrote Empire,
Correct. Correct.
wanted to kill Han in that movie. But George Lucas didn't want to kill him because, of course, George Lucas, being George Lucas, wanted to keep making money off of selling Han Solo
we
toys.
need that merchandise now. It's not going to happen.
He's too popular. Don't do
so,
it.
do we want to rate it before we go through it?
Yeah, we can rate it.
Okay. So, are we going to do 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 10?
I usually do 1 out of 10.
We do 1 out of 10.
Do 1 out of 5 if you want.
Well, no. Let's all stay on the same page.
All right, 1 out of 10.
Okay.
You go first, Ben.
Okay.
I feel like you're probably the most cynical.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, it's a well-made movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably give it like a 7.
7?
Yeah.
I would give it. I'm on the verge of 9, but I'm thinking maybe 8.5 because I was trying to go in. I was trying to be objective, but part of me is like dreading, like, man, if this is as bad as the prequels, I'm just going to be so
not even
pissed
close.
No, definitely. Anybody who's worried that this is going to be as bad as the prequels,
it's not.
There's no way.
It's a very
not even close.
No one could possibly think that.
Visually beautiful. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to like about the movie.
I mean, you know,
I know some people are not going to like it.
There's a lot of CG in it, but it's used when it needs to be used, as opposed to in the prequels where it's used for every single effect. I mean, there's a lot of
world.
The look of the Millennium Falcon was perfect.
The whole fucking world was CGI.
Yeah, and
in the prequels.
Oh yeah.
In this one, there was a lot more practical
green screen.
effects, a lot more backgrounds, and it really shows. You know, because you could tell when something's really fucking there and when it's not, and you know. The acting just miles and miles beyond anything you saw in the prequels. Maybe with the exception of Ian McDiarmid as the Emperor, or as Senator Palpatine, and then the Emperor towards the end.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He was good in the prequels, but I think, you know, it was because he was one of the few guys returning from the previous trilogy that was actually, you know, representing something. So he was good in the prequels, but other than that, everyone was totally wooden. In this movie, maybe a little bit of woodenness here and there, but nowhere near like it was in the prequels. It's mostly solid acting throughout, which you kind of expect from J.J. Abrams, because that's usually one of his strong points, is getting good performances out of actors. I would say probably my biggest criticism is the very same thing that you said to me when we were walking out of the theater, Ben.
That is my largest criticism also.
Oh, I know you're going with this.
It is basically
a remake.
Plot for plot. Plot point for plot point. It is a remake.
Well, you said the bones of it. It's
I would say,
look,
I would say it has the skeletal structure of A New Hope. It basically it revolves around not the Emperor, not the Empire this time, but the First Order. First Order. Searching for a droid that has some information that's vital to the rebellion. Well, they're not the rebellion anymore. Now they're
the Republic. The Resistance.
The Resistance now. For some reason, they felt they needed to change the names.
There was still a Republic, as you saw, but they got eradicated.
The Republic was destroyed in the movie.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, they don't want to be freedom fighters anymore. It's like, that sounds kind of bad. Let's call them the Resistance.
They're the Resistance now. Pretty much pointlessly, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, they're searching for the droid that has the information in it, and you know, there's Han Solo basically comes in and takes on the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and there's a Death Star. All they really did was make the Death Star bigger, and you know, not call it the Death Star.
Yeah,
it was like a whole fucking
It was an entire planet. And it was powered by stars, and it was able to shoot multiple beams and destroy multiple planets at one time, which you know, kind of an upgraded Death Star.
Yeah, they're like, Death Star ain't shit now.
It's still basically the same premise of, we got a droid with his information in it, and the young hero on a desert planet comes across the wise old man. In this case, it's Han Solo. And then the wise old man is killed by the mean guy dressed in all black, and then they have to go destroy the big space station that's killing people.
The opening scene is kind of similar because, you know, you see that pilot, he was given that map to where Luke Skywalker was.
Yeah.
And they put it in the droid, and then all of a sudden, you know, the big evil guy dressed all in black comes in and fucks everything up. Kind of like Darth Vader in the first scene of A New Hope.
Yeah.
In a way.
Right. And, you know, I mean, it's obviously, but, you know, there's a lot.
Then there's this young, you know, lost orphan on a desert planet.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's not just the bones, in my opinion.
I mean,
there's more.
I would say that it's like there's certain ways in which it's fleshed out differently. There's
for certain. I mean, they're different movies.
The characters are not. I mean, she's not just a Luke Skywalker clone. Finn is not just a Han Solo clone or something like that.
You know what? Can I explain something about? Okay, she's not a Luke Skywalker clone. How the fuck? Okay, like out of nowhere, she's just like the most badass ever. You know, she at the beginning of the movie.
It's probably going to turn out she's in the family because it always is in these movies.
Oh yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
Come on.
But she goes from collecting scrap at the beginning to like at the end beating the fuck out of someone who's trained to be, you know, a dark
Yeah, but I would say that kind of goes into the whole like balance of the Force kind of thing. It's almost like when the dark side rises, the light rises up with it. And
Yeah.
you know, they did hint at some sort of awakening of the Force.
But
as
even
well.
like Luke Skywalker needed training.
Yeah, like the fact that she was able to come to so much without having any formal training was maybe a little weird, but I don't know, they kind of implied that there was some sort of magical transference of some of this information when she touched Luke's lightsaber. Like she had some sort of strange vision there that I think could have something to do with it. And as we saw, like Kylo Ren was not that great with the lightsaber compared to like Darth Vader. I mean, they make it clear that he's not.
Yeah, he's a lot clumsier.
He's not on that level yet. He's still learning himself.
Okay, he was fighting someone.
Well, yeah, I mean, you really see that.
Zero experience.
You see that in the scene with the helmet where he's insecure. He's like, gotta live up to, Darth Vader, So he's trying to fill these very fucking big shoes.
Yeah, but it did establish earlier that she was good with that staff.
Yeah, that
so
is
she
true.
obviously knew how to fight. There was some combat ability there. She
there's a scene where the two guys
she
attack
was on
her.
a rough and tumble planet where she has to defend herself and her goods and her possessions, and she's there with a bunch of fucking thugs and ruffians. So it makes sense that she's tough enough in a fight.
Why was Luke Skywalker such a pussy then? And he was from Tatooine.
He was on Tatooine, but he was off on a farm working for his fucking uncle and shit.
Okay.
I mean, he wasn't out there. He wasn't like...
He was a nerf herder.
You remember when he went to Mos Eisley Cantina and shit, he was like, what?
Wide-eyed,
you could tell.
He was not used to that world.
He wasn't used to that world. So I think that, it makes sense.
He was sheltered.
Okay. Making a lot of excuses, you guys.
A lot of fucking excuses. We're just apologists.
I mean, I would say, we were supposed to all go down and rate it. I did 8.5. So you never rated it, though, Scotty.
I have to rate it. You said 8.4.
8.4. You're going to go up.
I feel the cheetah is more enthusiastic than me, so my rating has to be slightly less than
How about all the comedy? How did you guys feel about that? There was a lot of comedy.
I was surprised because I felt like probably like 80% of the jokes for me landed, which is pretty good.
I did laugh at some of them.
I mean, I thought there was... I wasn't like busting in the aisles.
Yeah, it was like... there was a lot of chuckles, like the BB-8 stuff, where he was like...
I mean,
BB-8 and Finn.
Yeah, and Finn.
Finn was really funny.
Finn is the one character that differentiates it a lot because he's like an AWOL stormtrooper.
Yeah.
And they don't really explain how... So he saw someone get killed...
Well, he said it was his first mission, and it was implied that before that he was... It wasn't implied. It was outright said that he was, like, working on... I guess they kidnap kids and brainwash them, and that's how it goes.
That's the first I'd ever heard of that.
Yeah.
But... Yeah, I mean, he was interesting, but they said he was like on like waste disposal duty before
sanitation.
That was his first battle.
He was a shitlord.
Apparently, seeing the battle just didn't sit right with something in his character, and to the point where he realized, like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Well, they told him to kill all the civilians and shit.
Yeah, and he's kind of sitting there with his gun, like, I don't want to gun a bunch of innocent people down. I mean, obviously, their brainwashing didn't work on him for whatever reason, which maybe that'll be explained in one of the later movies, or maybe we're just to believe that that's just central to who he is as a person.
Yeah. What about one character that stood out to me that I think we'll see again in the next movie is that stormtrooper, the one I supposedly it's female and is all metallic,
silvery. Yeah. They kind of left her fate
kind of robotic,
vague.
Yeah.
Too. You don't really know what happens.
If you don't see that character die, that character's still around.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you're probably going to see that again, especially because it was such a cool aesthetic.
I don't even remember that character's name.
I don't know. I don't remember the name either.
But kind of bad.
Captain Phasma? You guys
something like that. It was
something like that.
What the fuck was up with this? What's his name again?
Oh, Supreme Leader Snoke.
Snoke? Where the fuck did this Snoke come from?
Yeah, he came into the picture how many years later? I'm sure they'll explain it.
Right. I mean, there's got to be an origin story.
I don't think there's any connection.
Yeah, very vague right now
between him and the original trilogy. Hopefully, maybe this is going to be like a crazy.
Well,
twist.
I mean, there has to be some connection because I mean, like and this power vacuum that's occurred since the Empire's fallen. I mean, he's now in charge of the remnants of that, so there has to be some sort of.
Yeah, I mean, there had to be some way that he had a pedigree to take on that line. But as far as we knew, the only Sith operating in the Empire were Darth Vader and the Emperor.
Yeah.
So who the fuck is this guy? Where did he come from? Why does he have this training and ability? I mean, is this someone who was pulling Palpatine's strings all along? Is that what's going on, or is the origin story going to be something radically different? I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if we learn that.
I was not fond of the character design, though.
Yeah.
A little bit underwhelmed by that. I thought Kylo Ren was a much more interesting villain than that.
Yeah, both visually, and
the helmet is kind of janky.
Yeah, I kind of like that though.
You like the helmet?
Yeah, I like.
Yeah, I like that too.
I like that the helmet was like beat up.
Do you think he's gonna have a more badass looking helmet later?
Possibly. I don't know.
TJ, do you still hate the lightsaber?
It's weird.
I do think it's kind of stupid. I mean, I didn't like it when I first saw it. Nothing about seeing it in the movie convinced me that was a necessary addition. I thought it was weird. I still think it's weird. It's a very minor criticism. I mean, I can understand it from a visual standpoint, but it does kind of take me out of it a little to just see those stupid little mini cross guard things coming out.
Yeah, I mean, the whole concept of a hilt on a sword is protect your hand.
Yeah, one that's made of laser is probably not the greatest idea.
It's going to melt your hand.
I did like how he was so much more conflicted than Darth Vader was in the original trilogy. I mean, we saw Darth Vader's conflict come out gradually. This guy, we're meeting him when he's much younger. He's kind of got that whole emo thing going on still, but not to that annoying Anakin level.
Ugh.
I like how he'll just get pissed and just destroy
Obi-Wan is holding me back.
Like, if he's pissed off, he has no compunction just, taking it out on whatever area he's in.
Was the backstory that Luke tried to train him?
Yes.
Yes, correct.
The backstory is...
his name is Ben Solo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
His name was Ben.
Yep.
Fucking Ben's.
He's badass.
All turn evil.
Fuck your shit.
I mean, look, we're probably going to see him more badass in the next movie.
Oh, for certain.
It was basically said, it's time for him to complete why his training wasn't already complete, I don't know, but the Snoke or whatever is like, it's time to complete his training.
Well, it's kind of like the Sith, they got to take out someone above them, you know what I mean? And really, I think that was kind of like his last tie to being good.
It would be a good idea to kind of upgrade him, Ben, because it would almost be like an inverse Darth Vader, because Darth Vader kind of starts off as just a totally malevolent badass, and then you see the conflict arise as he comes into contact with his son. With this guy, it's almost like the conflict is there now, but you feel like it's probably going to get hard. He's going to be hardened as the movies progress.
He was saying that he's trying to resist the light.
Right, so he's still fighting against the goodness within himself. So I'm thinking his transition is going to be to more of that Darth Vader.
Here's something I don't know if you noticed.
Progresses.
I don't know if you noticed this, but after the opening scene, at the end of the opening scene, he turns and he notices that Finn didn't do what he was told, but he doesn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, that was a nice touch. You know, because he knew when he heard that one of them betrayed him, he knew exactly who it was.
Yep. But he didn't do shit.
And now that I'm thinking about it, he probably was going over in his head like, I was too soft. I didn't do what I knew was necessary.
Yep.
So that is a good touch.
Well, also, you remember Darth Vader, when you failed Darth Vader, you died.
Yeah.
And I mean, so
he throws temper tantrums.
Yeah, he got to throw his temper tantrums. I wouldn't be surprised the next movie he's just fucking killing people that fail him.
Well, that was kind of like, I think that it was the moment when he's confronting his father on the bridge, and you could tell he's kind of straddling between those two worlds, and he ultimately chooses the power of the dark side and slays his own father. So, is that the beginning of his road to becoming, just more at ease with the dark side, like not as conflicted when we see him next?
Oh yeah, I think so.
I would imagine so.
It was strongly implied that like his
character-
eyes were changing to the Sith eyes and all that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if the trajectory of the character is as they established it in this movie, I can kind of see him becoming more hardened as it progresses.
Look who he's idolizing.
And I loved that lightsaber battle in the forest. I think it was probably my favorite part of the movie. I really liked seeing them fighting, and I love. It's the same thing I loved about the fight in Empire Strikes Back, where there's so much destruction of the environment around them just by virtue of their battle, and they had that going on again. It's just, you know, trees being casually chopped down in one swipe and falling, and it's a really beautiful setting for a lightsaber duel. Probably my second favorite lightsaber duel of the entire Star Wars series after the one in Empire. And I also like the one in the throne room in Jedi too, I guess. So those are my three favorite. I don't know exactly where I'd rank them. I mean, I hated the lightsaber battles in the.
I mean, you also had the destruction of the environment as well with that the one the lightsaber battle in the forest too. Because I mean, at one point, like, you're at the very edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, there was a lot going on with that.
I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, it was a little hokey at the same time, but kind of cool how when the ground split, it split the two of them up. Almost like it took that to get them from being at each other's throats.
I would say the effect was cool, but I was thinking like, oh, that's a little too convenient.
Yeah.
That it just happened to split them like within a few feet of their lives, you know. And Kylo Ren was all fucked up at that point.
Yeah, and he's gonna have a badass scar from now on too.
Yeah,
from that duel. One of the worst moments in that movie, and I think I even heard you like chuckle during this moment, probably for the very reason that I thought it was funny, was when they go to R2-D2 and they're like, you know, C-3PO explains R2-D2 is he's in low power mode. I don't think he'll ever be the same.
He hasn't woke up since Master Luke left.
Exactly.
That's what he
Wake
said.
up, R2.
I mean, like,
nothing.
That is stupid.
You're right. It's like, you know,
we all know what's gonna happen.
You know exactly what they're gonna do with that. You know exactly where they're going. It's not even. I mean, it's lazy. It's the laziest sort of foreshadowing. And then, you know, of course, at the end of the movie, he starts, beep, 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 you know, he's, R2's back, and you know they're going to go find Luke. And I pretty much knew exactly how they were going to handle the thing with Luke at the end, where Luke turns to her and all that. I thought they were, I thought they were going to do it a little different. I thought he was going to turn to her, and once you saw his face, it was just going to end right there. But then they did this actually pretty awesome moment where she reaches out to him and tries to give him back his lightsaber, and he looks at her, and they both are looking at each other, and they have this entire...
That's the very end of the movie.
Yeah, this is the very end of the movie. They have this entire, like, conversation that's totally silent, just, like, with expressions and stuff, and you know exactly the weight of what she's asking of him, and you could see... you could see that in his eyes and in her eyes. Like, she has these eyes of, like, desperation and, like, please help, we need you, and he's, you know, he just looks so burdened and it's like, oh, I've already fucked up so much in the past, and, you know, I don't know if I can fucking handle this shit anymore. But also, you know, kind of having a stoic resolve where
maybe he knows who she is, though.
That's true too.
A lot of fucking questions.
Okay, so there's this weird woman, this alien woman who like owns a bar in the movie, and she has these crazy glasses that she wears. She has like gigantic eyes.
She like Edna Mode from The Incredibles.
But
oh god, yeah.
She
I was just thinking that
she, for whatever reason, it has not been explained, has the lightsaber that Obi-Wan Kenobi gave to Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, just inexplicably
in a box in the basement.
Yeah, and they were kind of trying to do this like Yoda thing with her too.
And somehow Rey was just like drawn to it.
Yeah. Power of the Force.
And then somehow that old woman knew that she was destined to have it. So what do you think is the story behind that?
Well, I mean, we kind of got a little bit of a clue because she said, I'm not a Jedi, but I understand the ways of the Force. I don't know what the distinction is there. I don't know how someone... is in tune with the Force, but not a Jedi. I don't know if it's kind of like saying I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious or something.
I mean,
like
that's why I said you kind of went into this. You're like, okay, so they're setting everything up right now, so you know it's going to be a lot of like you're going to leave going like, what the fuck was that about? I mean, and I would say honestly, the only thing that really dragged is like. The thing with fucking Snoke, it's like the character just didn't really. It's like he's supposed to be running all this. I'm unconvinced so far by that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't like the character's design. Snoke, is that right?
Yeah.
I don't
Voldemort.
like. I don't like his name. Yeah, he looks like a cross between Voldemort and who did you say?
And Smeagol.
Smeagol, and I think a little bit of that guy, the deformed guy from Hannibal. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, that guy in the wheelchair that Hannibal feeds to the pigs at the end. There's kind of that shit going on. I don't know about that character.
That is so weird. I don't even know. Shouldn't it be like a shadowy figure in a robe? Why is it this weird, like...
Yeah, I don't get it.
Deformed... monkey-looking thing.
I don't get
know.
that.
Yeah.
That was one of the stranger things to me.
Yeah.
Definitely something that was kind of like, I was like, this part I'm not so sure.
What was that line you hated?
Oh, there was one terrible line in the movie. And I mean, George Lucas was credited as a writer, so maybe he wrote this fucking line.
This was George's line, dude.
I mean, it sounded like it was something out of the prequels, and I mean, if it had come earlier in the movie, I might have like become way more guarded. But I already was pretty sure it was going to be a good movie by the point it was said. And then it was said. It was the only line of dialogue that made me cringe is when they go to the planet. I don't remember the name of the planet, but the girl Rey says. I didn't know there was so much green in all the galaxy. And I'm like, oh, George Lucas wrote that.
Dude, it's George Lucas.
George Lucas wrote that.
Yes.
George Lucas wrote that line.
Someone prove us fucking wrong.
Oh, my God. That line, I wanted to puke. So, yeah.
Yeah, I did notice that line. I was thinking of George Lucas, too. I'm like, that's like some fucking shit he would have Anakin Skywalker say in the fucking prequel.
I hate sand. It's coarse and gets everywhere, or whatever the fuck he said. It's coarse and irritating.
Gets between your toes. I don't like it. God.
So, yeah, that green everywhere shit kind of bothered me. But anyway, I liked it. I was satisfied. I'm probably going to go see it a few more times. Definitely way better than the prequels.
Next time, let's see
Felt like a Star Wars movie.
Next time, let's see it in the theaters where you can, like, kick back.
Yeah, I would say that's...
I'll tell you what.
I was really annoyed by my 3D
You know what?
glasses
Yeah, I want to comment on that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's say you're driving through, like, the most beautiful scenery you've ever seen in your life, and you have a dirty windshield.
Yeah.
That's what... it was like wearing these fucking shitty-ass, blurry-ass glasses.
Totally agree.
I have to see it again just for that reason.
Yeah.
And I honestly just feel like 3D is so overrated.
I blame you, TJ, because...
It is my fault.
Yep.
It is my fault. I thought it'd be cool in IMAX. I didn't even give a shit about the 3D. I just wanted
Scotty
to see it in
told me.
IMAX. And then
Scotty
the
told
IMAX
me.
screen, that's not an IMAX screen even. That's bullshit. That's a little, I mean, that's the
This is
tiniest
shit we
fucking
all told
IMAX
you before we went to the fucking movie, TJ. Fuck
Well.
you. You fucking... God. Fucking die, TJ. You fucking...
Yeah, well, let's go to one of those cinema suites showings or something.
That's what I was trying to fucking tell you, TJ. I was like, okay...
With the assigned seating and the reclining
yeah,
chairs and
it
the
fucking
dining
reclines all the way back.
service in the theater.
I mean, the food isn't good, but they can serve us drinks. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Get pizza. Pizza's good anywhere.
Yeah. It's hard to fuck
Or
up pizza.
chicken tenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, chicken tenders and pizza, pretty much.
You know, those are like the safe foods to get even at the shittiest restaurant, usually.
Yeah.
It's like, even if it's frozen, they'll have to, like, heat it up, so it'll be all right.
I mean, I know pretty much everyone already has decided whether they're going to see this movie or not. I mean, I would hope that if you've been listening to us spoil the whole fucking thing, you've actually seen it, but...
There are some people that are bitching that that's all we're talking about.
This is what this show is. But anyway, let's play a fucking video, I guess.
Someone sent this to me. This is a 1983 commercial for the Star Wars arcade game.
Sweet.
Star Wars. It's great in the arcade.
Yeah, whatever.
Whoa! Whoa, dude, this is insane!
From the cutouts. Use the force. It's coming too fast. It's late. It's late.
Use the force!
Oh my god, look at his face.
Dude, 80s commercials were fucking awesome. It's just like a guy is like fucking spazzing out on his screen. He's like, yeah, here's the fuck. It's like, whoa.
Every once in a while, I'll just be like sitting around thinking I'm looking normal and shit, and Ben will start laughing and be like, TJ, you're a fucking cartoon character. This guy is also a cartoon character. Look at him. He looks like a fucking animated character here.
His eyes are going to pop out of his fucking head, dude.
You know he auditioned, too, and someone was like, that's our guy right there.
Yes, whoever...
He's wacky and zany,
can
too.
get the most crazy...
Look at the screenshot.
This has to be a fucking... Look at this shit.
This is so fucking... This dude is fucking wacky. He really fucking is.
I love his shirt. Like, it's part of his collar.
His hair is the same color as like the space in the background. So it's like a crazy bald guy with giant eyes and a fucking giant gaping mouth.
And he's like amazed at this, like it's the fucking most advanced.
It was.
Like he's actually.
It was the most
like,
advanced.
He's acting like he's actually
the fucking
in a
holy
fucking
grail of fucking video
X-wing or
games.
some shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe he is in his mind, TJ. He can suspend his disbelief that much.
It's like it's a fucking roller coaster ride.
Yep.
God, his fucking hair is hideous. The fuck is up with this dude's fucking hair?
Video games, there is only
Atari
one
2600.
Star Wars, the arcade.
Some game, huh?
The Atari 2600 and 5200. It's when they had the 5200
and the Commodore 64.
Yeah, Commodore and ColecoVision. I had a ColecoVision.
Oh, those are fucking awful,
dude. Their fucking controller looked like a phone.
I know. That's what I'm
thick
saying.
like a phone, and it had like a keypad like a phone on it.
Ugh.
It's
exactly
horrible.
like it. And it had this weird little analog stick and 2 buttons on each side, and you held it like this. Ugh.
Someone said it's Repsion.
Where's Repsion?
In that commercial.
Oh, no, he wasn't crying.
Yeah, if it was Repsion, he would have started tearing up. Oh my God.
Oh, Darth Vader.
All right, so now it's time for some Star Wars related videos that are gonna piss off TJ.
Neat.
I think some of them may be by the same person too, which is funny. Maybe we could get them on here and you could debate this shit.
Maybe.
All right, here's things the prequels did better than the originals.
No.
Bullshit.
Ready?
I'm not ready, but okay.
This is by someone named Star Geek, so check out their channel, Star Geek.
Star Geek.
What?
They're getting away with it.
Yeah, but who knows if...
Yeah, sure. Star Geek, da 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 da, blah 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 blah.
Fucking
blah.
Star Geek, dude.
Yeah.
God, is this like?
Hey everyone,
There we
Star
go.
Geek here.
Hey everyone.
Tell you the impossible. I have actually compiled a list of 10 things that the prequels did better than the originals.
All
Wait!
right.
Please
I'm gonna
don't
try to
already hit
be
the dislike
open-minded here. I'm gonna try to be open-minded. Because maybe he's got something. Maybe he's got something, man. I don't know. I'll have to see. I'll try not to be pissed.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
I'm gonna try to contain myself. Maybe he's got some points. I don't know. I'm not
Let
just
me
gonna
explain.
dismiss it offhand.
I personally like the original trilogy much better than the prequel trilogy, but I
Okay.
still believe there are some good things that the prequels actually did better than the first three.
Revolting.
Although
Give me
I
an
have been
example.
thinking of doing an episode similar to this for quite a while, I want to give thanks to Corbin Crutchley for the idea. Any of you can suggest video ideas that will definitely be considered to be in an episode.
Oh my
All right,
God.
the
Tell me the
video.
fucking list.
Please don't hate me for this.
All right.
Anyone can have their own opinion, and I found these 10
Hey, I might have an opinion about you after I watch this. You just said anyone can have an opinion, so don't be like, please don't hate me. I might hate you.
Don't hate me.
I'm already hating how much fucking time you're spending introing this shit.
points extremely hard to find, so some may seem like I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Okay.
But no matter what some people may say, I
Oh
do
my
think
God.
the prequels are good movies.
No.
Just not as good as the original.
Don't
So it wasn't the
You're
hardest
horrible,
thing
you're
to
wrong.
find
They're
good
not
things.
good movies.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
What- I would challenge anyone to tell me what is actually good about those movies.
Well, he's apparently going to do it at some point.
Yeah.
About the prequels, but what they actually did better. Let's get on with the video so you can start disputing in the
All
comments.
right.
Yeah, after
fine.
5
As
hours
much
of
as we
fucking build
love
up.
the original,
You know, the video has to be over 10 minutes for them to put ads, like more than one ad on it.
trilogy lightsaber fights.
That's
the duels
probably
in the
why.
prequels were much better.
No,
They're more action-packed,
wrong. No,
better
no, no.
choreographed.
Fuck you. No, yeah. They're over choreographed is the fucking problem. They're like ballet. It doesn't look like a fucking fight. All right? It needs to look like a fight. Okay, a lightsaber battle should feel like a battle. It shouldn't feel like da na 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 na. Fuck that
Dude,
shit.
the best lightsaber battle in the prequels was in episode 1,
Yeah.
The Phantom Menace. And then the ending is so dumb. It's like, okay, Darth Maul can fight these 2 fucking Jedi. Like, oh, he's fucking doing it, no problem. that he has one that's just sitting there, like, holding on for their fucking life, that just jumps up, and he just stands there, like, lowering his guard and is killed.
That was another thing I liked about
Terrible ending.
Another thing I liked about kind of a aside, but another thing I liked about this The Force Awakens is they went back to the traditional fucking lightsaber duel. None of this stupid ballet bullshit. Something that actually feels like a fucking conflict. Not some choreographed routine like you're watching fucking Stomp, as Ben said.
And all around better. These fights are much faster than the originals. Of course, in episodes...
Oh, they're faster.
Faster is better.
So faster equals better. All right. Well, by that logic, you know, why don't you just play the whole movie at like 10 times speed? It'll be 10 times better, right?
But yeah, just go watch the fucking Fast and the Furious if you want that shit.
Yeah, man.
4 through 6, we didn't need crazy
I disagree
backflips
with
or
number
double-sided
1.
swords. We knew the emotion of the battles were what made them very good. In fact, fantastic. Even if it really was just a couple of old guys whacking sticks together. But since the prequels were slightly lacking in story and plot, the lightsaber fights had to be that much better to draw us in.
They're not good.
The lightsaber action of the
They're
prequels
shit.
is fast-paced,
You're wrong.
thrilling, and better than the
No,
originals.
wrong.
I
Fuck
love
you.
The story
And we get to see him as a little kid.
But they just can't shoot. Clone troopers, on the other hand, are sharpshooting machines. If you had to choose an army to go to war with, would you choose the shoot and miss stormtroopers or the clone troopers who never miss their mark?
At least the stormtroopers look like actual people who are there and not a bunch of cartoon fucking CG bullshit. But I don't understand how that makes the movie better.
Look at this fucking set. This is from The Empire Strikes Back, right?
Yes.
So you're looking at this, and like, you actually feel like there's something there. You feel like you are at this facility. In the prequels, it just felt like I'm watching a bunch of fucking animated shit.
Right.
A cartoon. Which is fine if you're watching a cartoon. But that's not what we wanted, so.
I have to admit that stormtroopers aren't that great, even if they are a big part of Star Wars.
I mean, I guess I agree that the clone troops seem more competent than the stormtroopers, but is that something the movie did better?
Let's just think about this. Are they called like clones? I mean, they're mentioned, but they're still called stormtroopers because everyone thinks it was meant from the original fucking trilogy, not the fucking new the clone army.
But I mean, what he's saying though is that because the clone army seemed more competent than the stormtroopers, that's something in the movie itself did better.
No, that makes no fucking sense.
I don't get that.
I don't agree with that at all.
I don't see how that makes the...
How is that relevant, you know?
Yeah, it seems off the point.
Star Wars. Ewoks can even defeat stormtroopers. Think about it. Clones can kill armed Jedi Masters, while stormtroopers can't even beat 3-foot-tall teddy bears. Sure, on the
Well, everyone admits the Ewok thing was a mistake, except for George Lucas.
Stormtroopers have a headbanging good time, but clones get the job done.
Really cute.
I can't imagine what happens to the stormtroopers to make them miss so often. They came from clones.
Maybe they can't see good through their helmets.
Happened? Did they just become old? Here's a picture of a clone trooper, and here's one of a stormtrooper. The soldiers in the prequels are by far better than the originals.
All right.
When you watch the original trilogy, you know who to root for. We have the Rebellion, who are obviously the good guys, and the Empire, who are the bad guys. Of course we should know this, right? Well, some say it's better not to be given everything, to make some parts up in your own imagination. The prequels allow us to do that. We know Anakin Skywalker will become Darth Vader, who is evil, but we want him to get up to that point because he's good at the same time. When you see Obi-Wan Kenobi, you should immediately think good guy, but when you see Anakin, you may not know what to think. He should be good, but he ends up being bad, even though we've been rooting for him the whole time.
Okay, wait a minute. Anakin in the first movie is like this stupid brat, like little fucking... Whoopee! Are you an angel? Like, that's horrible. And then as soon as you...
in the first movie, just throw him away. He's just a fucking annoying little shit.
Like, there's not, like, he's basically worthless. And then in the next movie, at the very beginning, like, it's established that he is basically a whiny bitch. Like, from...
No one likes me!
Obi-Wan told me to be back! Ah!
Go to your room for timeout. No!
If anything, all it did was ruin the character of Darth Vader because you're sitting there thinking, oh my god, Darth Vader was a little bitch.
He's a little whiny emo bitch in his fucking teenage years.
Bitch! So yeah.
I know it's confusing, but the point I'm trying to get across is that there really is no good or evil in the prequels, which is good.
Yeah, there is.
What? That doesn't even make any sense.
I mean, like, look, all Star Wars movies kind of have the whole black and white thing going on. All right? It's not a universe of moral nuance for the most part.
Midichlorians.
Yeah.
Or is it evil? Because we're saying it's good to know what's good or bad, but we are clearly stating that it's good to do this, disagreeing with the good point, therefore making it bad. But I digress. Anyways,
what the fuck is he talking about?
I don't know. This guy's retarded.
The story from both sides opens our minds to something new, and episodes 4, 5, and 6 didn't do that.
What?
The unsureness of the prequels is new and by far better than the originals.
Oh my god.
When episodes 4, 5, and 6
This
first
is just
came
total
out,
fucking bullshit. This makes no... His reasoning is just illogical nonsense.
I don't even know, like...
He's like, if you look at the square root of pi, and then you look at a tree, and then you look at Ewoks...
Pie.
Did G-Time
And
Johnny
then,
write this one?
and then, the prequels are better. It's like, this is so fucking terrible.
I think he's trying to say there was more moral ambiguity in the prequels, but no.
No, there wasn't.
Anakin's turn to the dark side was as ham-fisted about good and evil as anything else in the Star Wars universe.
He had like a 7-second vision, and he's
mean,
all
look,
like, I'm evil now.
If anything, Luke's flirtation with the dark side throughout the original trilogy had more ambiguity than Anakin's transition to Darth Vader. So, I mean, I just disagree profoundly with that point.
Visuals were fantastic. They had the best special...
This is a total nerd episode of the Drunken Peasants. I'm sorry. We're just Star Wars nerding out. If you don't like it, just fuck off.
And I actually like Star Trek better than Star Wars.
I do too.
But I like Star Wars.
But this is a Star Wars day.
Yeah.
effects of their time. But by now, the stop-motion creatures and chroma-keyed ships are a little outdated. As much as I love seeing a Tauntaun run choppily across Hoth, even I have to admit that the prequels can do much better.
Go look at Jar Jar Binks.
Okay,
he looks terrible.
As bad as the Tauntaun shit looked, I mean, it didn't look too bad. I mean, especially when you contextualize it within the time period. But I mean, look at this shit that you're showing us right now.
This shit looks so dated. If you watch The Phantom Menace, you look at it and you're like, what the fuck is this shit?
I feel like the traditional special effects from the original trilogy...
They've held up way better.
...have aged better than this...
Well, this is
early
like
they have an authentic real feel to them.
98, something like that.
You know, you feel like you're watching the Clone Wars on fucking Cartoon Network half the time when they're showing this shit.
Yeah, I mean, the CGI in the Clone Wars is on par with the movie.
Yeah, and it's fucking sad.
If we take Episode 1, for example, in 1999, people were really only using CGI to make small background items or creatures. But Phantom Menace,
there was a question in the chat, how I feel about Star Trek Tokyo Drift. Garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Did you see my review of that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Do you agree with what I said?
Yeah, I agree with it. Dude,
bad.
you had... I started going through the videos that you have on Facebook. You had one that made me laugh my ass off.
What was it?
You were like... You started to record the video and you're like, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. And you're like, I see you look totally clueless about what you're even going to do. And then you're like, let me see how long I can take a hit off this vape. So you're all like inhaling like super hard on the vape, and eventually you fucking like cough your fucking head off.
Yeah.
You're like, and then you're like, oh, I guess that's why that happened. It got like stuck in my lungs.
I don't even understand.
Yeah. It's so retarded.
Yeah, it sounds pretty retarded.
It's funny that TJ literally makes videos, and it's like, how old was the video that you were watching?
Just a few months, maybe like...
Yeah, a few months, and he's just like, huh? Really? Yeah. I did that? Huh?
Well, I do spend a lot of my time...
He had the vape in his hand, and he decided to just, like, take the biggest hit he could off of it, which is like...
Well, I knew it would be entertaining, and apparently it was, so I succeeded at least in that respect.
True. It's true.
CGI to create whole cities or worlds, spaceships, and aliens. So Star Wars has always been...
Oh my god, look at it! Look at it! How can you sit there and edit this and look at how shitty this looks? And say it's better.
Dude, it's like the fucking hilltop from like the Windows backgrounds.
I mean, you're like literally someone who's walking up to me and you hand me a bar of gold and a piece of dog shit and tell me the dog shit is clearly better. Like, just look at it. Clearly the dog shit's better. It's like, no, it's not. Look at this. Ugh.
Ahead of the game in the special effects department. But the prequels are obviously better in this case.
No!
We can always watch the Death Star trench run 1,000 times, but the beginning of Episode 3 clearly shows how much better it can get. There may be a bit too much CGI in comparison to practical props, but when you really think about it, prequels definitely win here. The breathtaking CGI of the prequels is better than that of the original.
I think, look, that looks cluttered and
Everyone's
shit.
favorite bounty hunter is one of the coolest characters in the galaxy. Episode 5 brought us this awesome Mandalorian bounty hunter, while Episode 2 brought us his predecessor. Jango Fett, believe it or not, is better than Boba Fett. While Boba may have been the original, Jango is a better fighter. Think about it. Jango Fett was actually able to escape from Obi-Wan Kenobi, a Jedi Master, while Boba Fett just flew down on his jetpack, tied up Luke, which did nothing, got his blaster cut in half, then knocked down and flown into a death pit after being hit by a blind man.
But no one knew at that time. No one knew at that time that, you know, Boba Fett was going to be so fucking popular. I mean, like...
Yeah, let's just be honest. He was just a disposable character for them to kill.
He was just a background character. He pretty much got the notoriety he did just because he looked so cool. Like, it wasn't because of anything he actually did, because, you know, he doesn't really do much of fucking shit in those movies.
But there's just been so much time, and they've kind of fleshed the character out more through all these, like, you know, games and books and all this other shit. So now he's a fucking badass, and they're like, why was he killed so easy if he's such a badass? You know what I mean? But in the movies, you clearly see, I mean, like, he's really not that badass. He was killed pretty easily.
But, you know, I mean, I guess they made Jango Fett tougher than Boba Fett was.
Yeah.
I mean, does that make it better? I mean, it's just a different
Not really.
choice. It's just a different
not
artistic
really.
choice is all that is. There's nothing better or worse about it. Just depends on your own personal taste on that one.
He went out fighting one of the heads of the Jedi Council. Of course, the original Boba Fett
He said heads just as his head got chopped off. It's pretty cool.
is much better than the prequel Boba Fett, which I thought was important to mention. The prequel's Jango Fett is better than the Boba Fett from the originals.
Okay,
Who were the villains in episodes 4, 5, and 6? Well, obviously Darth Vader, and kind of the Emperor, and partially Jabba the Hutt and Grand Moff Tarkin, I guess. But that's it. It's really only Darth Vader. Now what about the prequels? We obviously have the Emperor, Count Dooku, General Grievous, Duke Gunray, and the Trade Federation, Poggle the Lesser, Watto, Sebulba, Jango Fett, Zam Wesell, Darth Maul, and Anakin Skywalker.
Have you ever heard the saying less is more? Like, maybe 3 movies don't need a long laundry list of different villains. Especially when some of them are just downright lame. I mean, I guess General Grievous was kind of cool. Count Dooku sucked. Darth Maul was cool, but he dies in like a bitch way, as Scotty was complaining about earlier.
I do like General Grievous, which sucks because he was like the lowest level henchman, really.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Jabba the Hutt of the prequels, I think, you know, in terms of like how much.
You had Anakin, TJ. You have Anakin too. It's right there.
I mean, Anakin is not really the antagonist at any point in these movies. He becomes an antagonist
at the very end. At the very end.
How do you feel about the fight scene at the end?
I mean,
of episode 3.
It was okay. I mean, I still feel like
the
it was
lava.
It was too choreographed. I mean, the
lava part was cool.
I like the fact that they fought on a river of lava. I mean, I'm not totally immune to being swayed by some fucking shit like that. It is cool, but I do wish it was. I think it could have been done better if the fucking fight felt more like a fight and less like it was so fucking staged and rehearsed. And
yeah, the end was kind of lame too. He's like, "I'm higher up than you." And then
Would
it's
you
like,
be opposed to new prequels being made?
No,
and like erasing the old ones.
Yeah,
yes,
I honestly think
I would totally be in favor
I think it
of that.
should be done. Honestly, I think maybe when George Lucas dies,
yeah, that should happen.
They should just make new prequels and say, okay, here's the real prequels. We're sorry, George Lucas was senile and out
he's
of his
gone
fucking
now,
mind.
so
now he's dead, and we can make the real prequels. And then they make the backstory that was actually hinted at in the original Star Wars trilogy.
Yes.
Make a one that actually is like logically consistent with the films that come.
Preach the gospel, brother TJ.
Yeah, remake the prequels, I say.
Do you think the Clone Wars was always meant to be like a literal war with a bunch of clones?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That seems reasonable.
So I guess they had to find some kind of way to write that in.
Sure. I mean, I don't blame them for that. I don't think that was even handled poorly. That's not even the aspects I'm talking about. It was more like the nature of Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship and when they met, and it made it pretty clear that they were war buddies.
Yeah.
They fought in the Clone Wars together, and there was some kind
of... He was a student of his, too.
Extended conflict. And, and Obi-Wan was supposed to be trained by fucking Yoda, not Qui-Gon Jinn. I don't know what the fuck that shit was.
That character was never mentioned.
Yeah.
It's like, who? And it's funny because Liam Neeson is normally so badass. In most movies he's like the older dude that's a badass, but in my opinion, he got taken out pretty easily.
Oh, yeah.
As Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
Well, they have to have their dramatic death.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of liked Qui-Gon Jinn at the time when I first saw the movie, but rewatching it now, like the first prequel is like the hardest to watch.
It's easily the worst.
It's because of the little kid in it.
It's because of the little kid. It's because of Jar Jar. It's because really the caliber of the acting throughout, even by people who are good actors like Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor and shit, they're just terrible in it.
And the focus of the movie is such boring shit. It's like weird. A fucking pod race and shit.
Because aren't they normally pretty good actors? Like, haven't you seen Ewan McGregor?
Natalie Portman is terrible in those.
Yep.
She's a great actress.
Yep.
I mean, she's really fucking good. George Lucas, obviously, I mean, I hate to throw so much blame at his feet, but I mean, he directed him, and he's got really bad performances out of really good actors. I mean, what else can you blame?
Wooden fucking performances. I mean, the romance between Anakin Skywalker and...
Oh, my God.
I mean, it's just like... It's like this. It's the most painful parts of the prequels to watch.
Yeah.
I love you.
I also love you.
Let us frolic through a field now.
But our love is forbidden.
It cannot be.
But we must find a way.
Wow, there are a lot more villains to mention from the prequels. Which is good. It means there isn't just one big bad guy who wants to rule the world, or in this case, galaxy. You actually get a lot of very unique and interesting villains trying at everything to stop our heroes. Instead of just Emperor Palpatine being this super evil mastermind,
best character in the movies.
Yeah, he is.
Who have their minions.
Count Dooku.
And their minions.
Oh my God. Can you imagine the meeting where they came up with that? Like, yeah, Count Dooku.
I honestly
what meeting? It was George Lucas walks in. Villain's gonna be Count Dooku.
I decided that while I was on the toilet taking a Dookie.
Dooku. I don't think anyone's gonna pick that up though.
No.
I mean, I like Christopher Lee, man. I mean, he was a great actor.
Yeah, he was.
Greatest Dracula, greatest Saruman. But, I mean, he was bad in those two. And his character was lame. And you just kind of, like, the second you saw him, you're just like, why'd they kill Darth Maul? I mean, this shit. I mean, I gotta say, General Grievous was a pretty good villain. And the Emperor was a pretty good villain. Or the Senator at that time.
How'd you feel about Darth Maul?
He was cool.
He was cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I really wish that he would have been in the role of Dooku throughout those movies, because he was definitely the coolest.
And you know what? And if they fucking fight his ass for 3 movies and they kill him, then it's like, oh, wow, they killed him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they finally fucking got him. But
yeah, Dooku got... He was basically just like a pawn in the whole game.
Yeah.
Because, you know...
Yeah, he was just unceremoniously killed in, like, the opening sequence.
Kill him! And it's like, he's like, all right, I guess I'll kill him.
It was almost, like, pointless for him to escape in the second one, when he wasn't really gonna do much else.
Saruman is better than Count Dooku, yes.
Yeah, no one...
Totally agree.
Totally. And so...
I'm just reading from the chat.
So was his version of Dracula, if anyone remembers those from the old, like, Hammer films.
Yeah, I have seen him as Dracula.
I guess we can keep going with this, or we can move on. Doesn't really matter. Either way.
And so on and so on. In the original trilogy, I guess we got the Emperor's minions and his minions and their minions, but it didn't stretch past that. In the prequels, we got to see an ongoing villain family tree connecting many villains, not including the very
Watto is listed as a villain.
Watto and Sebulba and shit. I mean,
they're bullshit. They're not. They're villains. They're antagonists. But I mean, in the lamest way possible.
That's like if you say like the fucking aliens that confront Luke in the bar in fucking villains and fucking every fucking...
What about all the bounty hunters that were after them? They're not considered villains?
Yeah.
Under this standard, there's plenty of fucking villains in the original trilogy.
I mean, this is like, I mean, some of these count, some of them don't, but more villains does not equal better.
Fucking Watto. I mean,
Watto.
that's the biggest fucking stretch. Is Watto.
Don't work on the me.
Only money. Only money. It's like, okay, Watto. You're just basically a Jewish caricature. We all know it.
Like Eastern European Jewish.
Yeah. Only money.
The widespread amount of villains in the prequels are better than the
No,
originals.
no.
Everyone talks about how much they love Luke, Han, and Leia, and their acting. But quite honestly, lots of the acting in the original trilogy seems lifeless and dull. I mean, listen to this dialogue.
Well, these are British people, man.
I should have expected to find you holding Vader's...
Why is it all tinny?
I don't know.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought...
I mean, how are we supposed to accurately assess the performance when you're
Maybe
changing the fucking remodulating it and shit to, I guess, avoid copyright issues or something?
on board.
Humans don't say that kind of stuff. The reaction to things...
Yeah, but she's a diplomat. I mean, you look, there is some wooden acting in the original trilogy, but it's the 70s, all right? The standards of acting were not the fucking same then. They're actually much worse in the prequels. The acting is much worse, and it's more inexcusable because it comes from an era where people do expect more nuance in performances.
Things in this trilogy is so inhuman. The most emotional scene in episodes 4 through 6 would be Luke learning the truth about his father. Leia barely...
Oh my god. I guess this guy really doesn't get subtlety too well. Because to me, the most emotional scene... And this is another scene George Lucas fucking tried to ruin with his fucking revisionist shit. To me, the most emotional scene is when Darth Vader is watching his son be tortured by the Emperor, and he realizes that he has to turn back to the light. And it's all done, you know, I don't even know how he does it. It must just be the way it's lit and shot, because even though Darth Vader's face is totally expressionless, just seeing the way the lightning's hitting him and the way his body is holding, you could just tell everything that's going on in his mind. And that was like the most emotional moment to me of the fucking original trilogy.
That is why Return of the Jedi is probably my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, that whole throne room scene is like one of the best scenes in cinema history to me.
Easily.
And it's kind of fucked. It's kind of ruined because they keep intersplicing it with Ewok shit, but...
Yeah, that does kind of bring it down a few notches, doesn't it?
It really does. This needs reloaded.
Fucking Ewoks.
Endor.
Ewok style, TJ.
You know, it was supposed to be Wookiees originally. That would have been so much better.
Yeah, Wookiees would have been way... It would have made fucking sense. Wookiees are fucking big.
They
did the Planet of Wookiees in the prequel.
They did do it, and good on them for doing it finally. They should have done it in Return of the Jedi.
I would say that's why the third of the prequel trilogy, if you have to pick one, is probably the best one out of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's the one that most plays your nostalgia like a cheap fiddle, too.
Yeah.
He blinks when our own planet blows up. Luke takes 2 seconds to get over the fact that he made out with his sister, and he doesn't even make a noise when he sees the dead, burning corpses of his aunt and uncle who raised him from
yeah, that is true.
childhood.
He's kind of just like,
what happened here?
Padme, on the other
smells
hand,
good.
actually
Someone
have human
barbecuing?
emotions. When something bad happens, they react accordingly. You see a lot.
He showed that terrible, like, I am falling from emotion, like, and he kind of just, like, very awkwardly plops down. It's not, like, really, like, an authentic, like, he's been overtaken, he can't even stand anymore. It's, like, very awkward and, like, oh, I'm going to fall here now.
To say that the emotions of the characters make sense in the prequels, I mean, let me remind you of a moment in the second prequel, the Attack of the Clones, when Anakin comes to Padme and says, like, I slaughtered all of them because they're animals. I killed the men, not just the men. I killed the women and the children, too. And she's like, well, you know, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, in real life, I'm pretty sure that she'd have been like, gotta go now. See you later.
Yeah, I slaughtered a bunch of innocent people, so, you know, sorry about that.
They killed my mom, so it's all justified. Any level of murder is cool. I mean, genocide, whatever. I do it.
Just do it.
That's just the way I roll.
I got the force.
A lot more expression in the prequels, which is good.
I have
It's almost
midichlorians.
as if the original trilogy cast are robots. No, not those two. Them. The emotion of the prequels is much better than the originals. Tatooine, Hoth, Endor, and Dagobah.
The prequels are
Four of my
so
top-
sappy and over the top and overacted or underacted in a lot of
They're usually
cases.
underacted. I mean, he's basically saying that it's better emotionally because there's more scenes of people going.
So this list is totally
My favorite
fucking
planets
shit.
in the galaxy. But when you
Your
think
list is
about
fucking
it, the
garbage.
prequels do a much better job with their environment. Of course, the original trilogy did a
What?
fantastic job at expanding around a very confined space, but the prequels gave us a much bigger look at a much bigger galaxy.
Okay,
The
with
many
all the things you're saying, how could you possibly say you like the original trilogy better? I mean, I'm just calling bullshit on that because you're like, the characters are better, the environments are better, the story is better, the acting is better. I mean,
Yeah.
how could you possibly say that you really believe the original trilogy is better? It's like you're saying all these really important things to a movie, in your opinion, are better, so it doesn't really jive with what you're saying.
Yeah, it seems to me like he's just a prequel apologist. Prequels suck, all right? Look, I mean, you could sit there and say, oh, these environments, yeah, I mean, they had better technology to develop the environments with, sure. But these environments look totally bogus and bullshit. Like, they're not interesting at all.
environments that we see constantly through episodes 1 through 3 really further our views of the Star Wars universe. They have almost every terrain type you could possibly think.
Yeah, this looks like bullshit. This doesn't look like anything that really exists.
It looks like a cartoon. I mean, they could have made it look more real, and it would have been pretty amazing.
Like, wouldn't this look better if it was shot in front of a real fucking waterfall that was actually there and actually beautiful, rather than just some CG shit? I mean, because we look at it and we know it's CG shit. The whole idea of watching a movie is you're supposed to have suspension of disbelief. You're supposed to be able to, in some part of your mind, believe that what you're seeing is real, even though you know it's not. This kind of shit takes you out of that.
Instead of bringing us to a few planets that we only see small portions of, they travel us all over the galaxy to hundreds of planets. There's not much more to say, they're just more diverse and fun to watch. The environments of the prequels are better than the originals.
No.
The role of Emperor Palpatine in the original trilogy is mysterious and unknown, but his role in the prequels is cunning and genius. If you compare the Emperor's planning from the original trilogy to the prequel trilogy, there's an obvious difference. His only
He has a lot more screen time in the fucking prequels. I mean, I agree that he's better, but it's not because the prequels did his character better. It's just because there was a lot more development of his character in those movies. I mean, in this movie, he serves his role as the Emperor perfectly fine. He's supposed to just be the highest up, most evil fucking guy that even holds Darth Vader's leash. And that's all you really need to know about him. When you see him in the prequels, yeah, you get to know him better. So I guess that, yeah, they did do Palpatine better in the prequels, but I don't think that's an inherent superiority of those films. It just happened to be the films that told his backstory.
plan in the original trilogy was to get out with the old and in with the new. He wanted Luke to kill off his old apprentice, Darth Vader.
I've often said, too, that the Emperor should have been a more central character in those movies than he was. Because, really, at that time, he was the one who had all the odds stacked against him. Who was, you know, masterminding this crazy plot. I would have loved to see more about what his struggle was to achieve that power.
Just like he asked Vader to kill off Dooku. The Emperor's plan in the prequels was
we
far
just gotta
more
see
advanced.
Anakin as a little
He
kid.
figured out a way to slowly gain the power he wanted. Even when things didn't go exactly as planned, he kept his cool, stayed in character as the friendly old Chancellor, and remedied the mistake via cloaked hologram. I've always wondered where the Emperor films those little messages. Do you think he's just filming them in his local gym, like,
"Hey, Newt, remember that deal we had about you being freed and given all the money you want?" "Yes?" "Well, slight change of plans. You're going down to Naboo to take over Theed Palace.
Jokes are really bad.
No, why not the whole planet, where you'll travel from one side of Naboo to the other,
You wanna
and
move
eventually
on?
be captured by 2 Jedi Knights, where I will then laugh at your stupidity in my second identity as Chancellor."
Oh my god.
Oh.
All right. Jesus.
You're a real.
Oh, it's still
well,
going?
I've got to get back to my crunches. My personal trainer is
God.
you on Naboo.
This is bad.
The prequel Emperor is generally better than the original.
All right, I guess I agree with
If you ever
that.
watched the original trilogy and felt a feeling of incompletion, you learn all of this stuff about Vader, Yoda, and Obi-Wan's past, yet never learn about it. And you never get to know what happens to Luke, Han, and Leia after they get off of Endor. But with the prequels, you know what happens to the characters in the end.
Because you've already watched the fucking... Oh my... They're prequels! Of course you know what fucking happens afterwards. Fuck.
I know that Anakin Skywalker becomes Darth Vader, and Darth Vader is still Darth Vader. So he's better. It's like, what? That makes no sense. Just because you know what...
This is garbage.
It's like, oh, okay,
This
we know
is
Darth Vader
fucking garbage.
dies. We all
This is
know
more
that.
garbage than I am, for fuck's sake. Let's watch something else.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Sure.
This one is Jar Jar Binks' Sith Theory Explained.
Oh, shit.
Oh, fuck me.
Jar Jar's a fucking Sith master, dude.
This is a theory
Sith
that...
fucking lord.
Here it is.
You may have heard already about the theory that's blowing up around the internet right now about how Jar Jar Binks may actually be a Sith master. So I decided to...
Maybe he's that guy. You know?
Damn, you know what? Maybe.
You know... What?
It's fucking Jar Jar.
Is his name fucking Snoke?
No, his name is fucking Jar Jar, dude.
That's worse than Dooku.
That would be hilarious.
It's
if
fucking
it was.
Jar Jar. Jar Jar is fucking running the shit.
If they did it, I would laugh so hard.
This video to explain every single detail for you. So here it is. This is the completely airtight, absolutely foolproof case for why Jar Jar Binks is the most powerful Sith master in the universe. First of all, Jar Jar executes a 20-foot twisting somersault through the air that if performed by any other character, you would assume they were either a Jedi or a Sith. As we know, the Jedi themselves are inspired by Shaolin monks, and a convincing theory is that Jar Jar is based off of another traditional...
Okay, well, here's the problem with that already. He just did that crazy flip in front of two Jedi, and they weren't like, holy shit, he must be some kind of Sith or something. They weren't freaking out about it. They're just like, okay. So...
Yeah, how do you know in the Star Wars universe that's totally... That's like, oh, no one can do this. No species can do this.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, maybe his can. Because they're like fish people.
Yeah,
aren't
like,
they?
what
Don't
was
they
it,
live like
Gungans?
underwater? Yeah.
And we don't know. That's probably just normal for them.
Yeah, I mean, like,
that doesn't really
you
prove
have
anything.
two Jedi standing there witnessing this happen, and neither of them was like, this is fucked. Well, how did you see what he just did? This is crazy.
Martial arts discipline called Z-Quan. Jar Jar almost single-handedly takes out half a droid army using moves clearly taught in Z-Quan. Z-Quan, or Drunken Fist, uses stumbling and staggering as body momentum to be deceptive, unpredictable, and to confuse opponents. And Jar Jar mysteriously is extremely efficient in killing every single time that he is in danger. And as Obi-Wan told us, there is no such thing as luck.
In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
In another scene...
He said in his experience, there's no such thing as luck.
No, Jar Jar was fucking designed to be a fucking buffoon that just somehow still fucking, got the shit done that needed to be done.
Also, I mean,
that's it.
You're acting like George Lucas had any sort of respect for the original trilogy when he made the prequels. So much of what is said in the original trilogy is contradicted by the stuff in the prequels, so what does that one really matter? No, I think Jar Jar was designed to be a hapless buffoon who just through sheer dumb luck, he just manages to get the job done because he's just a lucky SOB.
Jar Jar seems to fall from a bridge, although we have seen this done on purpose before by Jedi. And Jar Jar also falls in a completely different place than where he was dangling from. We can prove this because droids can be seen shooting at his original location, and their heads even follow him jump to the other side. Jar Jar could have used a force jump, as we've seen multiple times before by Jedi. Jar Jar is also seen using sleight of hand movements and Jedi mind tricks during key plot points to influence the plot and change people's minds. He even
He waved his hand. It's obviously a Jedi mind trick. He went like that.
Uses them when he is promoted to general, when he's promoted to senator, and while he's persuading an entire
Wow, yeah, because it's so unusual for a character to move their hands while they
He used fucking Jedi mind tricks to fucking convince everyone in the fucking Senate,
Galactic
dude.
Senate. Along with using the Force via sleight of hand, Jar Jar is also seen in multiple scenes using Jedi mind control to influence what people say, therefore changing the outcome of important events.
The Queen wishes it. She's curious about the planet.
Okay.
They're really like putting Jar Jar behind, and it's like, look, he's controlling everyone.
See, he's the puppet master behind it all.
Are deathly afraid of him. Seems like less of a reaction to seeing the village idiot and more of a reaction to seeing somebody that you should be very afraid of. Jar Jar
it was because he was like, they thought of him as being so klutzy and clumsy that he was like destructive. They established that like several times in the fucking Phantom Menace that he's like a fucking idiot. Why would there be scenes like there's scenes where no one's even watched him like and he's just being a dumbass like he gets his lips stuck in the fucking like a little electrical beam.
But I'm sorry, but I look at Jar Jar Binks, I just want to fucking smash this like through this fucking screen and just smash his fucking face. I really wish I could punch Jar Jar Binks. God, how can anyone argue that he's a fucking real, like, honestly believe that he is a Sith fucking Lord? It's the stupidest fucking theory I've ever fucking heard.
mocks Qui-Gon's ability to use the Force, perhaps because Qui-Gon's Force abilities pale in comparison of his own.
The Force will guide us.
Oh, Maxie bit the Force.
If you were wondering why a Sith Master would act like an idiot like Jar Jar does, it's clear that he is just fooling the Jedi so he can manipulate them into trusting him.
You hear that?
Yeah? Clumsy.
You were banished because you were clumsy.
He even pretends to be scared in a deleted scene where his ship is going to fall over a waterfall, even though he can jump 20 feet through the air and he can swim and breathe underwater.
Gee,
it's not because he's a
like
fucking buffoon.
It's almost like the prequels are inconsistent piles of shit or something.
Jar Jar also mocks Qui-Gon behind him.
I can see why this appeals to people, because it's like they're trying to take something that's like so clearly horrible and be like, maybe it's not so bad if you interpret it like this.
Some people are calling troll on this.
Apparently, a lot of people take this fucking shit pretty seriously. This Jar Jar is a Sith.
Someone asked if this is Caden Cowgirl.
Caden Cowgirl.
His back and in front of Anakin, teaching Anakin early to disrespect Jedi authority. Jar Jar tells Anakin, an 8-year-old boy, that Padme is hot, fanning the flames for Anakin's infatuation for Padme that is exploited later.
Pretty hot.
Jar Jar also talks to and is very interested in Padme, even before it is revealed that Padme is the real queen.
It's like he knew.
It's like, he's a main character and she's a main character, so like they put them on screen together. I mean, how fucking strange.
If this was like really George Lucas's intention, wouldn't you see way more of Jar Jar in the next 2 movies, regardless of how the fans felt?
An evil fucking smile on his fucking face. It's like, it'd be one thing if there's like a scene where Jar Jar kind of has like an evil grin, or like he has his eyes suddenly go like very clear, and it's like, oh, Jar Jar is in total control. You know what I mean? But there's nothing like that. It's just like this.
Jar Jar also influences Padme's decision-making when she's at her most uncertain.
We got a grand army.
I've decided to go back to Naboo.
Jar Jar senses that the Jedi are coming without any warnings. He could not have known in any way that they were coming, and he even walks up to the elevator seconds before the Jedi arrive, then pretends to be surprised to see them.
How do you know that he didn't know they were coming? How do you know he wasn't walking to the elevator for a different reason? How do you know there isn't some sort of thing in his fucking apartment that lets him know when someone's coming?
Them. When they're escaping Naboo, Jar Jar, who sabotages the hyperdrive, which forces them to land on Tatooine in the first place where they meet Anakin. Not to mention Jar Jar is the reason they keep running into Anakin. Jar Jar is
Jar
seen
Jar's done
suspiciously
everything.
fiddling around in the back of the ship moments before the hyperdrive mysteriously breaks.
Shit, dude.
R2
This theory's really starting to come.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he was back there.
even
Look at him.
notices he was doing something suspicious, so he gives him a well-deserved smack before he is forced to leave in
Shit,
the
so-
elevator to fix the ship's
So
shield
R2-D2
generator.
knew the
In
whole
fact,
time, then?
every
Fuck, he's
droid
an
Jar Jar
asshole.
encounters seems to hate him and find him suspicious.
Everyone who encounters Jar Jar in general hates him.
Yeah, I was about to say that's not only fucking. They even in the movies, the other characters are like Jar Jar is annoying. That's how fucking annoying Jar Jar is. The movie, it's like Jar Jar is annoying.
Issa make you big, General.
And for good reason, because Jar Jar's mind control doesn't work on droids.
You know, I find that Jar Jar creature to be a little odd. Quite right. He's very odd indeed.
So why did
they
George
said he's
Lucas
odd.
create this devious Gungan character? Well, here's George Lucas talking about Yoda in a documentary. Yoda really comes from a tradition in mythological storytelling, where the hero finds a creature on the side of the road that seems very insignificant and not very important, but who turns out to be the master wizard. And as we know, Lucas...
Okay, if that was George Lucas's intention with Jar Jar Binks, that would have come to fruition within the prequel trilogy. That wouldn't just be some hidden subtext shit for people on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Years later.
In the other two prequels after the first one, Jar Jar Binks is so fucking sparse. He's like in a few scenes.
Yeah, I mean, like, if George Lucas's intention was really like, he is this Sith Lord who's manipulating everything.
He would have been featured way more.
Like, yeah, and there would have been some moment where that was revealed, because if that was your plan, why wouldn't you fucking reveal it? It'd have been a crazy twist.
His big deal with the prequels was that they were supposed to rhyme and mirror the original trilogy in terms of narrative themes. So there should be a seemingly innocent creature found at the side of the road that later reveals himself to be the master wizard in the prequels. Don't forget, Yoda was also strangely annoying and dumb until he was revealed to be the most powerful Jedi in the universe.
R2!
So Jar Jar was supposed to reveal himself as the most powerful Sith in the universe, and Yoda was supposed to duel with his literal dark side nemesis and mythological equivalent at the end of Attack of the Clones. Not the meaningless, boring, human Count Dooku who is randomly and hastily written in to cover plot holes when Lucas chickened out and decided not to reveal Jar Jar's powers because of the horrible backlash by the Star Wars community.
That's dumb.
Oh, what?
If anything, that would have made George Lucas more fucking convinced to go
Where's
through
the fuck?
with that.
Where's the fucking proof of that,
Yeah,
though?
there's
It's
no,
like,
this is just,
you know,
that's total speculation.
oh, Lucas was for it because the prequels really suck. He was forced to like abandon his plans. It's like, okay, well,
look,
if that was his plan, it's fucking
Hold on.
stupid.
If you had a plan to have this fucking comedy sidekick character turn out to be like the Sith Lord Master pulling the strings behind it all, if that was your real plan, and your first movie came out and everyone fucking hated the character and thought he was annoying, wouldn't that just give you all the more incentive to do that?
But also, here's the problem with that fucking theory. That theory is totally wrong. The Phantom Menace was a huge box office fucking success.
Yeah.
That's why they kept making them.
Right. It wasn't like George Lucas was like, well, people don't like it. I guess I quit.
That's because people like you who will keep seeing shitty movies.
Well, you know what? Because I kept seeing the shitty prequels, they finally made a good one, so whatever.
Bam!
I don't know.
Yep.
That's the reason.
Pretty sure.
Well, the reason is Disney bought Star Wars.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean...
and they're going to get their fucking money's worth, unlike George Lucas.
I kept thinking maybe the next one will be better, you know? And it wasn't.
No.
I would say Attack of the Clones is actually my favorite of the prequels, though, not Revenge of the Sith.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I hated that one.
Yeah, I find that a lot of people think it's the worst, but I actually thought it was the best.
The Phantom Menace is the worst, in my opinion.
I think Phantom Menace.
The Phantom Menace is easily
It's really unwatchable.
It is hard to watch. We went and saw it in theaters for some re-release they did.
And we were making fun of the movie because
God.
that's the only way we could survive
we couldn't even, we were like, oh my God, this is pain. I didn't even remember it being this bad.
We were fucking groaning. We're like, oh, fuck, this is so dumb.
I saw it in the theater when it first came out with all of them.
Yeah? We did too.
Yeah.
Someone's bitching at us for not being more accepting of this theory. Said we're closed-minded, and we need to fucking be open-minded. It's like, we'd be open-minded if this weren't all retarded. I'm sorry, but, everything... I mean, pretty much everything this video has said is just, innocuous coincidence being trumped up into something it clearly was not intended as.
Yeah, this is very nebulous at best. I mean, there's not really a strong connection.
I mean, plus this guy is outright stating what George Lucas was intending to do and all this other stuff as if it's fact, and he's not presenting any evidence that George Lucas had those intentions.
Troll or not a troll?
I would say probably troll, but...
Probably a troll.
Are we going to watch something that's less Star Wars related about Repsion now?
You want to watch that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so this is a vegan guy. Everyone's talked shit about him. Basically, because he's made videos about TJ.
Oh, this guy, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. But this guy's ripping Repsion.
Yeah. Some vegan guy.
Yeah, I know this dude.
Yeah, he's walking around in the woods.
He's the angry vegan.
Tree Pictures presents guy staring at a tree.
Look at these fucking trees.
No, I'm walking.
So dramatic.
Weird editing. Here's some foliage. Here's me running. The end of it's gonna be like Nike or something.
Eventually in this video he talks about Repsion, I guess. But
yeah, this is
oh, there we go.
Just really fast to my
Look at this shit.
I mean, after how well it was shot, I'm kind of disappointed that the special effects for Repsion on the screen is so bad.
He's out in the bush. He's out in the bush smashing old TVs that he's watching Repsion on.
Yeah, he's tuned into Repsion.
background situations, like the color correction.
Oh, they're gonna fucking fight.
Think
awesome.
about this. That's who this guy is. Okay.
Yeah.
I realized that by not having an open mind towards myself, I have pushed people away.
So Repsion had recently posted a video where he chucks a fat sulk about himself being so incredibly close-minded, which I completely agree with. However, what I find to be even more hilarious is that literally the day after he posted this video, he says bullshit like this.
No, I'm not going vegan. Not happening. Will never happen.
Like, if you're gonna sit there and cry your eyes out about having an extremely closed mind, perhaps you shouldn't show such a blatant disregard to such an open-minded lifestyle.
You guys notice this guy's hair just never ends on his face?
Yeah.
It's just like it just keeps going.
Open-mindedness doesn't mean you just accept.
I'm open-minded now, therefore now I agree with your ideology.
Yeah, your consideration of open-mindedness is like, I'm open-minded. Nazism is cool. All right, I'm a Nazi then.
Do you like that analogy, Scotty?
Oh yeah, well,
I'm not saying veganism and Nazism are equal. Obviously, veganism.
Who cares? We all know what TJ thinks about veganism.
TJ.
Fucking
he's
stupid
bastard.
I am making content to basically document my personal growth as a person, and I want to share that experience with you guys.
Those edits add so much.
Does this mean Repsion's potentially going to get fatter and fatter, so we just get progress? So from thin Repsion to fat one, then he's just sitting around eating potato chips and playing video games or something. It's
gonna be cool.
So
Doing
that
lots of
maybe
drugs.
people may not make the same mistakes that I have been making.
Mistakes, like creating several videos about vegan games, and when given the opportunity to confront him live on the Drunken Peasants podcast, you bitch out like the little fucking bitch you are, man.
You could have come on and confronted vegan games. You dedicated all
This guy hates Paul's ego, and he's still featuring him.
Yeah, well,
So he must really hate Repsion.
Sure.
I just gotta say it, bro. Your slip is hanging.
briefly tell people my opinion, which is that if he makes a bunch of videos about someone and then he has the opportunity to actually confront that person, he should take that opportunity and not just be like, I got nothing to say to him. It's like, you know, what? Doesn't make any sense.
Hearing the amazing
I don't agree with that guy. He's wrong.
God, that's so ugly. Get him off the fucking
atheist
screen.
express how much of a coward you are must have really struck a few nerves. Because you grew up watching The Amazing Atheist. You'd even got into heated debates with your dad about whether or not you're allowed to watch his videos. You fucking bitch.
I am not allowed to listen to The Amazing Atheist on my computer or on my dad's internet. I had my speakers on. I was listening to a video by The Amazing Atheist, and my dad gets up out of his chair, walks into my room, and says, "What are you listening to?"
I don't necessarily think Repsion's like a bitch for all of time. I just think he bitched out in that situation for whatever reason.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, like,
yeah, it was really strange. It's like, dude, this guy, you're saying you really had, there's like really something between you guys. And he's, you know, you're saying he's made death threats against you. Like, why don't you confront him live? And like, you know, if you really feel like you've been wronged, like, you have a fucking chance to really face this guy down.
I mean, yeah, I don't really understand why he didn't want to face Vegan Gaines. I mean, the only thing I think is maybe he just feared that Vegan Gaines would be better in a one-on-one debate than he was.
Vegan Gaines has already agreed to come on again sometime.
Sure. I mean, he was fine last time.
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
He said to me that I am no longer allowed to listen to The Amazing Atheist.
Sweet.
So it's completely understandable why you'd be so incredibly upset about this, mate. Because not only has The Amazing Atheist changed his perception of...
What is with all this unnecessary shit that he does in these videos?
He wants to be like fucking Megatron or something.
It's like...
That does sound like Megatron.
I mean, it doesn't add anything. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
Yeah, this is totally unnecessary.
I've seen these kind of effects used to an effect. You know what I'm saying? But in here, it's just like random voice modulation changes.
It's like, okay, so this is happening now.
For no reason. You know, just do weird shit with Repsion's clips. Not really funny, not really interesting, just kind of like there. And you're like, why? Why'd you even bother? Doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. Maybe some people like it.
But the entire public perception of your character is drastically decayed. Mr. Repsion is the biggest fucking bitch on YouTube. Can't even defend himself, hiding behind his $1,500 gaming computer. My previously non-existent respect for Vegan Gaines has increased immeasurably. My respect for Mr. Repsion has diminished slightly. And the comment below that one's
Well, it's only slightly, I guess.
Slightly? Repsion is fucking cancer. So Repsion, it seems that you were known as an intellectually
a totally reasonable
but
comment.
you're now known as a stupid, intellectually dishonest fool who avoids live debates because he's scared shitless of being humiliated.
I mean, I feel like if Repsion doesn't want to get in that kind of shit with these people, like, he shouldn't respond. He shouldn't make videos to them. Like, if you don't want to confront them, you don't want to deal with them, then, you know, you shouldn't even mention them. You shouldn't even talk about them. You know, just address their arguments. Don't even, you know, make videos directly towards them. Or if you're gonna do it, do it.
I mean, yeah,
you
you start an argument on the internet. Like, what do you expect?
Do it to someone like Anita Sark. I mean, I don't know who started. It was probably Vegan Gaines with his shit, but I don't know. I don't really know who started whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, if someone makes a video to you, you can respond to the video or can just ignore it. I mean, if he really just didn't really want to have that debate, he could have just been like, I don't really care.
I mean, he made several videos about Vegan Gaines, and he obviously had more to say because I don't know if you remember, but he was in our chat room all night fucking commenting there. So it's like...
Yeah, he was in the chat room when Vegan Gaines was on here.
Yeah, just come on the fucking show.
Wow.
Just come on the fucking show. Just talk to the motherfucker. We're here to mediate, and we're probably going to be more on your side anyway.
I mean, like, if he had something better to do, that would be one thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I can't right now. I'm going to my mom's funeral or something.
Damn, TJ.
Not even something that big, like, whatever. Anything that he had to do that was
He's
better.
getting a colonoscopy.
Anything.
Can't make it.
I'm going to go have anal sex with my girlfriend.
We talked about...
We talked about that in the Lost interview with Repsion.
Yeah, the Lost interview.
Repsion and I talked about that when we were on the Galen fundraiser hangout.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It sucks I wasn't able to be here for that.
Yeah?
I was on.
It went on for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
Like 16 hours or something.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty
Yeah, they raised a ton of money for Galen, which is pretty cool because he was like such a bad way.
Bitch!
It's still in the description, too.
I mean, that's kind of a nothing video. There wasn't any real substance to it at all. It was just Repsion's a bitch, which, you know, I mean, I agree he bitched out in that situation, but whatever.
Yeah, we can't declare him a bitch for all time or anything, but
Just 'cause he had a
did bitch out.
moment, I mean-
yeah.
How about urgent, very important video from the Vigilant Christian. Must watch and see.
Watch and see. Okay.
Yeah, or share.
Oh,
watch and share.
share.
Sorry. It's too small.
Play it.
All right.
Hey everyone, it's the Vigilant Christian Mario, and you are here for
And I just want
a
to
very
let everyone know
important
I'm
video.
totally not gay.
As you noticed, I titled this Must Watch, very important video from the Vigilant Christian. And the reason I titled it, I explained in a previous video. So if you haven't seen that one, I'll just explain to you. There's censorship going on hardcore. Those of us in the alternative media are being
Hold on.
suppressed.
The alternative
Very
media.
Hold on. What did you just call
You are not
yourself?
the alternative media.
Those of us in the alternative
You are
media.
totally and
Come on,
unrepentantly
Mario.
full of shit, Mario.
I mean, I guess if you want to say you're alternative media in that you're an alternative to media.
That's like alternative medicine. Yeah, medicine that doesn't fucking work.
Alternative media.
I'm gonna use some essential oils to cure my cancer. Don't worry.
Wow. Luke Skywalker's nose are pretty crazy. Like this one.
R2!
R2!
Sounds like you're getting fucked in the ass.
Oh, what are you saying? Yes, then?
Well, it depends on how he feels about it, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Now all I gotta do is find this Yoda.
Now it is find this Yoda.
All right, back to
They
Mario.
can't completely take down my channel. They can't completely do away with me because that's too obvious. So what they're starting to do here on
It's too
YouTube
obvious.
is call certain videos sensitive content. And if you start posting too much sensitive content, YouTube, according to their guidelines and policies, may remove your channel. So
wait, who cares if
They're trying to surreptitiously remove Mario's
if they
channel.
want? I mean, like if YouTube just took your channel away, and you know, what do you mean it'd be too obvious? Like all your fans would be like, "Bring Mario back," and YouTube be like, "No."
You know what?
And then that's it.
Yeah.
I can't even pay attention to him because he looks so gay.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does.
This guy looks so fucking gay.
Look at that hair.
Gay.
Look, look at that. Look at those eyes. Gay.
The nose, gay. The beard, gay.
Yeah.
The poster, gay.
Ears.
The
are
wall
gay.
behind him, gay. The shirt,
The
gay.
shirt, well, the shirt's not so gay.
Gay.
But everything else is.
So gay.
The light, gay.
The glint in his eyes, you could tell, is like, you know, desperation for
His hair gel or whatever, gay.
Gay.
Yeah.
It's not even hair gel, it's probably semen.
this is a way, because I'm not leaving anything in the title or anything in the description that talks about what I'm about to say to you, this should prevent my videos from being considered sensitive content. I'm trying it and I'm hoping it goes well. But I won't take too much time explaining that. If you don't get it, watch the previous video. I go in depth and explain. Now, what I wanted to talk
Go in depth into men is what you go in depth into.
about is something that is considered sensitive content here on YouTube. And by the way, let me tell you all about the sensitive content. When there is a potential
lots
false
of air
flag,
quotes. Sensitive content. Sensitive content. Sensitive. It's like, okay, we get the point.
All about the sensitive content.
Yeah, I think if you just do air quotes once, and then
we get the point.
We get that you know you don't take it very seriously. You don't need to do it every single time.
shooting, and we talk about that, that is labeled sensitive content.
Oh my God, you don't need it every time. Stop.
If I say that
He's
the
gonna do it
refugees,
again.
as we're going to talk about,
Here he goes.
is a government plot to bring about some chaos that they will need to bring a new world order about from it, that also is considered.
Okay, there's not even enough refugees for that to happen.
It's gonna happen.
20,000. What is it? Is it 20,000 people, or is it 80,000 or something like that? I don't remember. It's such a small number. It's not. It'd be fucking crazy for it to cause chaos. It's not going to cause chaos.
A boot.
Sensitive content. If I say that the U.S. is funding ISIS and is really behind ISIS, that is considered sensitive content.
Well, do you have any fucking proof?
Also wrong.
It's called bullshit.
Yeah. I wouldn't even call that sensitive content. I would just call that wrong.
You know, Mario, just start presenting evidence for the things you're saying, and, everyone will consider it, instead of just your fucking crazy conjectures like, oh, I think this. It's like, the U.S. is funding this, and we really want to do this in time, waiting for these angels to come. It's like,
Did
Mario.
you know that Mario is straight, Scotty?
Oh, no, he's totally gay.
He's straight.
He looks gay.
He's straight.
Looks. I'm just saying he looks.
The way he holds his head and his hair and everything.
It's the hair. It's because
no, guys.
The way he
Listen.
likes to take care of himself.
Hold on.
I think
I'm not saying he's straight. All right, I'm saying
it's
he's
the way he likes
straight.
to take care of himself.
Oh, he's straight.
Straight.
You know what?
He's heterosexual.
Oh, okay, I got you, TJ.
Heterosexual, straight.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Right. He would say, if your girlfriend checks me out, don't worry. It's just I'm totally gay, so there's nothing.
Oh,
to worry
yeah,
about.
yeah, of
That's why I
course.
take care of myself.
He has a card he passes out to people just so they know. They're like, hey, who's that good-looking guy? Oh, okay, he's gay. It's cool.
I'm the vigilant Christian Mario. I happen to be a gay.
I'm a gay. Don't hate.
Right. So this is the suppression of
opportunity for a
information.
beautiful
This is something that we need
screenshot.
to recognize. We are legitimately in a war of information. The media is controlled, and they don't want you to hear this information.
Someone should go back and find that one frame where he's making that crazy face and turn that into a screenshot, because that would be beautiful.
And they're working tirelessly to try and subtly do away with our voice. Eventually, they're going to restructure Google and restructure the internet in a way that stuff like this will not be allowed. You're never going to even find anti-vaccine opinions and research online, because they are going to say that's sensitive content and it's not true. And eventually Google...
Okay. These guys have been making this argument forever. It's like one day they're just going to crack down, they're going to stop us, and it's like, okay, so when is that day going to come? I mean...
It's never going to happen.
Look at him now.
In some countries, they do that stuff.
Yeah, it's never going to happen here because people know that some idiot like Mario talking this shit, it doesn't really amount to anything.
Yeah, this isn't getting any traction or any views because most people are going like, this is true. I mean, sure, there's some people that I'm sure believe and agree with Mario.
If you could draw on that, what would you draw?
If I could draw on this?
Yeah.
What we're seeing here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Going for just like a cock would be too simplistic.
Yeah.
You got to do something crazier,
You could have him blowing out smoke.
Yeah, maybe he could have a big like church warden pipe like Gandalf or something. I don't know.
I always see the most creative ones, but he totally doesn't look gay here at all.
No, he's straight.
No.
Yep.
He is a heterosexual.
Yep.
Not gay.
Not a homosexual. I mean,
he's
not gay.
Not gay.
Won't even bring it up in the search results. So while this information is available, we need to work extra hard to get it out.
He's
Today I
a member
wanted
of the
to talk to you
alternative
about
media,
something I've been
guys.
wanting to share, but it's considered sensitive content. And that sensitive content is that this Syrian thing is a setup. I was literally just watching, and
I was literally just watching something on the internet and I realized it's a setup.
Total setup.
God, Mario, I love your fucking investigative journalism. It's like I'm sitting around and like, Syrian thing. Seems like a setup.
Remember, when he was on our show, he pretty much just said that when you're a Christian, God gives you the power to just tell the truth about shit. So his research is literally like, that seems like bullshit to me.
It's like certified by God to be true. It's like, so...
Any whim that enters my head is from God.
So it's impossible to contest what he's saying because he's like, well, God told me. Can you disprove that? No. Oh, I win.
I win the argument.
I'm going to do a video about the new Hunger Games. Right in the Hunger Games, okay? This movie that just comes out right now, all right? There's a scene, okay? I'm going to show you that in this expose that I'm going to develop, that you literally see refugees being brought into the Capitol, and they use...
Oh my God.
The smoking gun.
Yeah.
A movie that was probably made before this was like actually a big media story somehow predicted it, but to condition us to accept these people who will destroy us.
Refugees. There was refugees in the movie, and now there's refugees in real life. What are the fucking odds of that, huh?
I wonder if when they were making it, if there were actually refugees then. Would there have been refugees then?
Maybe there's been refugees all throughout history or something. You think that's possible?
No, that doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, I don't think so. Refugees are a recent thing. That's only happened recently in like the last few months. So
last year.
How could the Hunger Games even know about refugees? Because that was just invented a couple weeks
well, the
ago.
Illuminati, man. They know.
Obviously part of this big elaborate Illuminati plot, man. The Hunger Games was just prepping us for what was going to happen.
Use the term refugees, and these refugees are needing food, shelter, and all this stuff. And among the refugees,
One person
you have
doesn't
two
need that.
that go and infiltrate their way into the capital to cause chaos. This is exactly what the plot is. Are you going to try and tell me that's in the movie right now just by pure coincidence?
Yes. Yes, it's actually, you know what? It's not even coincidence, okay? It's literally not even coincidence. It literally, like, the two things are not even fucking related, all right? That's like saying, I saw a car crash in a movie, and when I was driving home from the movie, I saw a car crash on the road. So obviously there's some connection there. No, there's not. You're just a fucking moron.
God, Mario is so fucking stupid. It's like just mind-boggling.
But you know what? You can give him one thing. He is straight.
Yeah, he is definitely fucking
for the
straight.
people listening to the audio version of this, every time he says, I say he's straight, I'm doing the air quotes. Like he does. Every time he says, sensitive.
As you wish.
Thanks, Darth.
Most impressive. Obi-Wan.
I love Darth Vader's voice.
I am your sister.
That was awesome.
That's awesome. That would have taken the trilogy in a very different direction.
I am your sister. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Well, I'm sorry, Darth.
Yeah.
I'm just not able to have faith.
Your sister.
Gotta have faith, TJ.
Faith of the heart.
Oh, man. Why'd you gotta bring that up, huh? We have to explain that a little.
Greatest theme song ever.
For those who don't know,
Star Trek.
That was like Star Trek themes have always been like
Enterprise, correct?
Orchestra music.
Orchestras and shit. And then all of a sudden, when they put out the series Star Trek Enterprise, it's this horrible song called "Faith of the Heart."
It's like a power ballad, dude.
Yeah, it's like this shitty power ballad. And it's like totally antithetical to the spirit of Star Trek too, because it's like, got faith of the heart, and you're like, that has nothing to do with fucking Star Trek. It's about reason and inquiry and rationality. It's not about faith of the heart.
Yeah, I remember.
dumb.
I remember the first time.
Dude, that was the
ever heard
harbinger of fucking that wasn't gonna be a very good show.
Enterprise was like the prequels in Star.
Yeah, you know, I did enjoy some of Enterprise.
Yeah, I mean, you
but-
showed me a few episodes that were okay, but I just feel like overall, just not up to snuff.
Yeah, and the theme song.
Yeah. Ben is very entertained by the nose, man.
No.
We got to get our audience to send in clips of them just going, no! Give us dramatic no's, you guys.
No! Damn, Ben, you're obsessed with that shit.
Putting those two together.
Father and son.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like father, like
Yep.
son. Amazing.
Brett King was right.
Yeah, fuck.
Shit.
Oops.
Tell you what, he's not right about much, but damn, he's right about that.
Go ahead.
Okay.
If you are, you're clueless. You have no idea how this works. The movies are, in fact, propaganda hiding truth in plain sight to desensitize and condition your mind so you have no clue that these elite groups are truly bringing about this New World Order system.
That is false. You are a moron. I am done.
You're done.
I'm done with this.
There's, let's see. What do you want? There's Oh, here. A lot of people sent me this one, so I'll play this one.
All right.
You know what? If you have a problem with being called the godless left, maybe don't be the godless left. You do.
I don't have a problem with being called the godless left.
Yeah, who has a problem with that?
I'm okay with it.
Maybe
I think the
liberals that are fucking Christians or something or whatever.
The only way you would have a problem with being called the godless left is if you were a godless right-winger, which there are plenty of those, or if you were
a religious
leftist.
Yeah.
You know, then you'd have some issue, and rightfully so, because you're not being accurately labeled at that point. But yeah, I'm more left-wing than right-wing, and I am a godless individual situation, so yeah, I have no problem.
You're fucking godless.
Realize that in
What's
the
wrong with
wake
you?
of this terrorist attack, when people were saying our thoughts and our
You know who wasn't godless, by the way? The people who committed that terrorist attack.
prayers
They had a
are
whole
with
lot of
those
faith.
who are affected in the San Bernardino terror attack. You had the New York Daily News, and you had elected officials, and you had journalists mocking people who were simply asking for prayers. Mocking
Because
them,
they're useless.
saying, well, we're so glad that the GOP can
It's
save
just a fucking
everybody from
empty platitude that was just, you know, as regurgitated by fucking idiots. Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims.
Yeah, like, you know, I'm sending my magical wishes to help. That deserves to be mocked. Fuck you. If you want to
It's empty and meaningless.
If you want to help, send some money to, you know, someone on the ground, or, you know,
Yeah,
help
fuck
the
your empty
do something to
gesture.
help the fucking families. Fuck your empty gesture that's designed to do nothing more than make you feel good about yourself. Yeah, I have no problem telling you.
Or for political fucking brownie points, all the candidates. Oh, this highlights the Second Amendment. Let me kiss the Second Amendment. It's like, you fucking you fucking demagogue. Shut the fuck up.
I love you, Second Amendment.
Yeah.
You give me the right to bear arms.
ISIS with their prayers. Here's an idea. How about you guys stop letting terrorists in?
Yeah.
How about you guys stop supporting policies that reduce the criteria for unvetted foreigners to get visas to come into this country? Because you all have blood on your hands right now. It wasn't the NRA that made the rule.
You
that
don't
said,
have blood on your hands. So on the right, the fucking warmongering motherfuckers like, you have blood on your hands now. It's like, aren't you guys that pretty much want us in a perpetual state of military buildup and war, and just anytime there's any military cuts, it's like, our country's gonna collapse.
Let's remember something even more important. You guys are basically the founders of fucking ISIS in the first place. Where did ISIS spring up? Again? Was it in Iraq and Syria? The countries that we destabilized by going to war under false pretenses under George W. Bush? Huh? Remember that? You fucking dipshit? I remember it. You know why I remember it? Because I was fucking against it. So if you know, you could say the Amazing Atheist is a fucking moron, but if I had been president, there wouldn't be a fucking ISIS right now.
We're not allowed to look at the social media activity of people who are unvetted and coming from hotbed areas of terrorism like Tashfeen Malik. I don't know if people missed Government 101 and how all of this works, but that was actually Jay Johnson at the Department of Homeland Security. And by the way, he upheld that rule in 2014. It wasn't Wayne LaPierre. See, Wayne LaPierre is an older white guy. Jay Johnson is a younger black man, and he works with DHS. Wayne LaPierre is at the NRA. Maybe you guys are illiterate and you don't know what all the letters stand for. But the NRA is made up of millions of people who...
NRA stands for National Retard Association, and DHS stands for
Other than
Department of
lame,
Homeland
like,
Security.
you maybe are illiterate. You
Maybe
fucking
you just don't
mongrels.
understand what these acronyms
You're so
mean.
dumb. You're dumb.
This ain't Wayne LaPierre's fault. Wayne LaPierre didn't do shit, you guys. He's innocent.
who are just like me, and we want to fellowship and protect our Second Amendment rights. We don't make policy decisions, and we sure as hell don't work at DHS. That's y'all's guy, Jay Johnson, right? He was the one who was appointed to that position by President Barack Obama, who also supports this rule that was up.
Okay, so I love how you guys are so willing to lay every terrorist attack that happens under Obama as Obama is directly responsible for this. But when the largest terrorist attack ever to occur on American soil happened,
who was president?
And
then?
George Bush was president.
Huh.
And we even had evidence that he'd received memos and shit that told him Osama bin Laden is trying to do this. He failed to prevent it. It happened, and after it happened, your response wasn't, fuck, George W. Bush is horrible.
Man,
look what he let happen. Your response was, we all need to stand behind the president.
You know,
now more than ever.
And
now more than ever.
And what
we need to
country
stand behind him.
did George Bush have ties to? Saudi Arabia. And where did most of the 9/11 hijackers come from? Saudi Arabia. Oh, but there wasn't any failures on that level of intelligence. There wasn't any failures there. I mean, what happened in San Bernardino was really shitty, but compared to 9/11, it's a very small event.
If only her brain was half the size of her tits, she'd be okay.
Isn't this
2014,
Glenn Beck's
and it was
thing?
I don't know.
The Blaze.
Rule, ladies and gentlemen.
Blaze.
That very rule.
Speaking of Blaze.
Yep. Let's see how big of a hit I can take off this bong. That'll make a good video. Go on, TJ.
No,
make it happen, dude.
I'm just recovering from a cough.
Pussy.
Do it, bitch.
No. Fuck you.
All right, give me it back then.
Oh, God. Scotty's going to cough so much.
That allowed inside these United States Pakistani fiance visa applicant Tashfeen Malik, who, by the way, was ranting on social media for years about her jihadi fetish. She was fetishizing jihadism online. But because Jay Johnson was so obsessed with political correctness and so obsessed with optics, which I'm sure is going to be of great comfort to the 14 families who lost people in San Bernardino that day.
Oh, her bullshit indignation, man.
Fireball Z.
I hate this fake indignation you get from these reporters. Like, yeah, and I tell you what. Like, you don't give a shit. Any Republican had appointed this guy, you'd be sitting there.
They do the same thing.
Making excuses.
They do the same thing every time some major event happens. Like, you know, remember it was Benghazi. It was like, Benghazi was terrible, and it's Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama's fault. Barack Hussein Obama. Let's emphasize he's got a weird fucking middle name.
I'm sure they'll find great comfort in the fact that Jay Johnson did all he could to make sure that DHS was beyond reproach in terms of political correct optics. It was him who made that decision. It was he who upheld that decision, not the NRA. So, yes, why don't you people stop supporting policies and candidates who want to lower the criteria and let every Tom, Dick, and Harry from every hotbed terrorist activity cell around the world into the United States?
Yeah, that is definitely not the position. It's like,
right.
I support, okay, can you imagine someone saying this logically? I support we go to where ISIS is located and we just have like plane tickets and we hand them out and just come to America.
Anybody could come.
Anybody, just, you gotta give them your name. Just give them your name, or not even give them your name. Just get the
Make
ticket.
up a name.
Yeah, take the ticket and come. Who the fuck is saying this?
I mean, like, obviously, she doesn't think the borders should just be, like, totally draconian and no one should be allowed in. So it's really just a matter of, like, what level of security do you want for the country?
I really think that's, for the most part, what they want. Like, when I've listened to them debate, and it's always...
So you think they're just...
We need to secure the border.
You just think they're totally isolation at this point? They don't want anyone coming in? They just want America on lockdown, like a fucking giant prison colony?
They definitely don't want fucking Muslims. I mean, like, people say this shit about Trump. Like, Trump is, you know, he's the bad guy. It's like, look at all the people supporting Trump. They're really the bad guys. They're the ones that actually hear this shit, like, ban all Muslims, and like, that'll solve the problem. Ban this foreign group, and then everything will be perfect. You know, this is like this is typical fucking shit throughout history. You just go back through history, you see this is repeated time and time again. It's like, oh, this other external group is responsible for all our problems, and we'll blame them, and if we keep them out,
before this it was the Mexicans.
Problems will be solved.
Yeah.
At one time it was the Chinese. At one time it was the Irish. You know, there's always some
Polacks.
Yeah, there's always some group of people that's like, oh, these fucks. The Jews have got it quite a few times.
Because we've kind of had about enough of it. I'm really tired of hearing people attack the NRA. You know, I had a fender bender in a Taco Bell parking lot one time, and I didn't call AAA and go off on them and accuse them of being responsible somehow for this. It is sick.
Wow.
I mean, is that really analogous?
No.
No, it's not. AAA is not, and the NRA are not the same thing. AAA to cars is not what the NRA is to guns, okay? That's not the relationship that exists.
It's a fucking giant gun lobby group. That's what it is.
Right. And I mean, whatever you feel about guns, I mean, wherever you stand on that, whether you think there's too much regulation now or not enough regulation or whatever,
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of your political opinion, that's not the relationship the NRA has to guns. I think any reasonable person could agree with that.
Yeah, they're basically just opposing gun restrictions. We've seen it.
Yeah, I mean,
and on a national level, it's been extremely successful.
If AAA's agenda was to make cars as unregulated as possible,
then
that would be an apt analogy. But that's not AAA's agenda. So,
yeah, it's like, you got a flat tire, you call these motherfuckers. Totally different fucking thing.
What would be more analogous? It's like it'd be like if people were going around blaming like a gun repair shop or something.
These gun repair shops are the fucking problem.
They're the real problem.
To me that we have an administration that promised to keep Americans safe, and they haven't kept Americans safe. We've had beheadings in Oklahoma, a terror attack in San Bernardino, a terror attack in Boston, a terror attack at the Naval Yard, a terror attack in Chattanooga, a terror attack at Fort Hood, and every single one of these people were
Okay, well, let me look at the overall murder rates for the last few years.
We definitely know there was no crime under Republican administration.
Yeah, nothing ever happened.
Never, like, during those time periods, criminals just know, like,
I still don't understand
I'm
how,
actually going to be punished now.
I mean, look, if you want to have the criteria of Obama is to blame for all the terrorist attacks that have happened under Obama's watch, fine. If that's the standard, that can be the standard. But by that logic, the Republicans should be blamed for 9/11. Right? That'd just be logical at that point.
Which is supposed to be the catalyst for all this focus on terrorism in our country. Like, that's the fucking focus. Like, pretty much everything is, like, revolves around a conversation about terrorism. Even if it's not really the most pressing issue, because people are so afraid of it. It's such an issue that politicians can exploit. Because people really want to hear about it. Like, oh, let's talk about terrorism now. I'm like,
terrorism.
Oh, terrorism.
I'd say it's like the #1 concern of people now. I'm like, really? Terrorism is the biggest issue? I mean, it barely kills anybody. I think it's just because people get scared of it. Like, they think whatever they're most scared of is necessarily the biggest
because
issue.
they think they're going to walk into that fucking movie theater, plop down, and someone's going to blow them away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're just they're just like, we need to do something about this.
I saw this video that someone sent me, and I think it's pretty funny. It's an older news story from several years ago, but it's pretty fucking hilarious.
I was trying to look up murder rates by year, but my phone's being a cunt. So
yeah, whatever.
Doesn't matter.
All right.
The murder rate is not any higher under Obama than it is under Bush.
This story is way more amusing. 4-year-old steals Christmas presents. Oh, drunk 4-year-old steals Christmas presents.
Awesome. That's a good story.
Yeah.
A drunk 4-year-old is accused of stealing Christmas presents from his neighbors, and there's a lot more to this bizarre story.
Please tell me there's video of this.
It may be one of the strangest stories we've ever reported to you. Now, it all begins at a house in Middle Valley where a child escapes his home in the middle of the night. News Channel 9's Karen Zaklak sat down with the child's mother today to hear how this all happened. Karen.
Kim, it's a strange story, but also
Drunk
a sad one.
4-year-old.
April Wright is 21 years old and is going through a
Breaks out of his
divorce with her
fucking house
husband,
and
who's in
steals
jail.
Christmas.
It's
She's
not a
sure
sad
how
story,
the
it's a
4-year-old
funny
managed
story.
to escape, open a beer, and steal the neighbor's presents from under the tree. But today, she's just
fucking
glad he's
awesome.
okay and says she won't let it happen again.
This 4-year-old little boy, Hayden Wright, was found early Tuesday morning wandering the streets of his neighborhood. Officers say he was wearing a little girl's dress.
Oh my God, this kid is awesome.
Dude, this fucking kid just lives his fucking dreams. Just, he wanted to fucking wear a dress and just like cause mayhem and steal and fucking drink, and he fucking did it. You gotta admire him for that.
You wanted to dress in drag.
A drunken, cross-dressing 4-year-old Christmas present thief. That's pretty fucking awesome. This kid has accomplished more at the age of 4 than most people accomplish in their entire lives.
I have to agree.
And drinking a beer.
Biggest concern was him being out there, being kidnapped,
Mother of the year.
getting ran over.
I don't know how he got out. He just got
He might got ran
I
over.
might have been having one of my fainting spells, and he ran out.
Fainting spells.
having to have his stomach pumped.
His mother, April Wright, says she woke up that night panicked at 1:45 a.m.
She was
find
fucking
Hayden
sleeping.
gone.
Wright says they put safety devices on all the doorknobs to make sure the kids couldn't get out, but Hayden was somehow able to break this whole thing off the doorknob and then get out.
It's a
into
fucking
the street.
piece of
Once he
plastic.
escaped, Wright says her 4-year-old
Give a kid enough time,
followed
he's
his
gonna break
father's
it.
footsteps and was found here on Blue Spruce Drive drinking alcohol.
He runs away trying to find his father. He wants to get in trouble so he can go to jail.
I like how
Because
he's
that's where
wearing a
his daddy
dress,
is.
The Hamilton County
Oh,
Sheriff's
man. Oh,
Office.
God. Now you feel like a fuck. Now I feel fucking like really
So the
bad.
kid is trying to like go to jail.
Father,
so he
like
can
son, amazing atheist.
He's trying to go to jail so he can see his dad.
Damn, now I feel like a dick.
Damn.
Oh, fuck, man.
This needs to be a movie.
Office report says Hayden rang the doorbell here a few houses down, and the neighbor answered, finding the child holding a partially drank 12-ounce cold Bud Light beer.
Got it out of my father's cooler in the back. And how he got it open, I don't understand because it's one of those tab beers.
But it doesn't stop there.
He pulled the tab.
It's one of them tab beers.
What? You don't know how he opened it?
Maybe he used the tab.
Yeah.
Fucking use the fucking tab.
It's a tab beer, so maybe he
the
pulled
kid's
the
fucking
tab
4,
on it.
not like 2.
It says Hayden then snuck into a neighbor's house through an unlocked front door and stole 5 wrapped Christmas gifts, one of which was a girl's brown dress, which Hayden was wearing when police found him.
Be going to the neighbor's house and taking their presents. It's very embarrassing.
Wright admits she was not just embarrassed, but scared, and
What kind
rushed
of
to the hospital.
conversation can you have with someone like, sorry, my son broke into your house, cross-dressed, and stole from you?
Look at that kid. He's already slack-jawed. Look at him. Yeah.
It had a good time, man.
That night with Hayden,
Bud
who's
Light
now
is
fine.
so gross.
Well, he's 4.
He's 4. He doesn't, you know, gotta give him a pass on that one.
Yeah, you know.
Today, she says she tries to be a good mother and loves her son, but now feels like a failure.
Kids do things like this, and
No, not usually.
No, I
That's
don't.
pretty damn unusual.
I never heard a story like this.
Kids
growing
do
up.
things like this. Like, I can't remember anything even.
I've heard of
close to
kids
this.
like running to like breaking into neighbors' houses, like running around in them and shit, but not, you know,
getting
stealing
drunk, wearing dresses, stealing Christmas presents.
There's some fucking serious issues going on there. So, damn.
I mean, it's out of your control. You can only do the best you can as a mother. I mean, everybody makes a mistake.
Yeah,
it was an
just
honest.
stop talking.
Wright did meet with Child Protective Services
You're
today,
digging
who
the
told
hole
her she
deeper.
will get to keep custody of Hayden. We did get a hold of the owner of the house where the presents were stolen on the phone, but she said she didn't want to comment. Kim.
Karen, thank you.
Karen, thank you. Thank you, Karen. All right, we've been doing this 2 hours. This is about
Yeah, do you want to do
1 in the
some
morning or
shilling
something.
really quick?
We can do some shilling.
All right.
Dinor.
Dinor.
Yeah.
You must have Dinor.
Mighty Dinor.
I might as well tell people too that Paul's ego will not be able to make the show tomorrow.
No, Paul.
Paul has called me and said that he has a previous obligation.
He's taking a sick day.
He's at fucking Burrito Con.
Burrito Con 2016 or 2015.
He is fucking sampling the best fucking microwave burritos your money can buy.
Oops, what happened there? Crazy shit.
Who knows?
Dinor.
It'll be back. There you go.
But anyway, yeah, we got the various Dinor shirts and the new Jim Ass shirts here.
Oh, and me and TJ have discussed. I think we're gonna hopefully soon get a matinee shirt.
The Dinor shirt is very popular. We've already sold 206 of them.
Yeah,
because it's fucking Dinor, dude.
People, you know, if you don't have, it's gonna get to the point where if you don't have one of these shirts, you're a fucking loser. We're just saying.
You should be walking down the street, and everyone's just gonna have Dinor on, and if you don't have them, you know, on, you're
gonna
feel naked.
Yeah, you're gonna feel like everything you own is inadequate if you don't have a Dinor shirt. You got to get the Dinor shirt, man. It's one of the greatest pieces. It's like I think it tops the Mona Lisa.
You can own a piece of history.
A piece of history.
Piece of history.
Check this out. Look, look how many people are saying that they're coming for sure.
125 people say they're coming for sure to our meetup, and we're still working on trying to find a venue. We thought we would have had it by now, but they're apparently a little harder to fucking get in touch with than we thought.
Yes.
But 116 are saying they might come. you know, we'll have that sorted out hopefully next week.
Yeah, vote in the poll.
Vote in the poll. Let us know if you're coming. We might have a more detailed RSVP thing at some point, so stay tuned. Make sure you are following us on Facebook so you can keep up to date with that kind of stuff if you think there's even a possibility that you're going to go.
Yeah, and if you're bringing someone with you.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to follow our social media in general, especially, you know, when you always have to worry about the minefield of YouTube's system. And
Yeah, if you're fucking, like, losing sleep at night, like, will I get that update from the Drunken Peasants? You know, like, fucking just sweat billowing off them. You take that fear away and all that anxiety away by just going to our Facebook page and clicking like.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a lot easier for people to, for us to communicate if our YouTube channel is fucked up for some reason.
TJ plays upon the audience's fears.
Well, you know, gotta sell it somehow.
Thumbs up the video. Subscribe.
Subscribe to the channel. Thumbs us up. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of people, you know, just Star Wars and shit.
Yep. And see you tomorrow. And then the private show is
Saturday.
Is Saturday.
On Saturday.
Yep.
See you fuckers then.
Later.
And tomorrow.
Bye.
For the next 2